Yeah.
Are we
1982?
That's a hell of a year.
It was. I was 2 years old.
I was -10.
4. I discovered things I shouldn't have. At 4.
The more I learned about the 80s, the more I wish that I would have.
Teenagers. Oh, wait.
I asked last time. That's stock, right? It's kind of a banger for stock.
Yeah, it's not bad, huh?
It's hitting hard.
Yeah.
These headphones are banging too.
Sounds good.
It's good sound.
Cue up those cameras, Savage Bro.
Booyah.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you.
Oh,
That's right. That's right.
Beautiful bottom of the day in the good old Decatur, Texas. Eh? That's as Irish as I can get.
It was good when you first started, but it kind of
Slowly deteriorated into probably American.
Just doing bits.
Texans, yeah.
All right, well, welcome back to the show, the Very Smoky Show.
Yeah.
And it's the first time to have a guest on 2 times in a row. Welcome back, Zach.
Yeah.
I don't know how I finagled
yeah.
my way into that.
And then once again, welcome back to the Chief,
My man.
Chad Miller.
Yeah.
I think the smoke adds a nice haze to
Yeah,
everything, you know?
it's like a filter.
It's like reverb on an amp.
Yeah, it's like an Instagram filter for
Yeah.
for video.
Yeah.
We should have patented that. Cigar fill.
haze filter.
Yep.
Patented Whiskey Bros. 100%.
We probably could do that.
Pay us your royalties, please.
I like that.
So yeah, Doc's not with us tonight. He's unfortunately dancing his ass off or something. So
Is he
we,
really?
I think it's kids.
yeah, it's
his
his
kids are in dance.
We've
so.
replaced one big brain with 2 big brains. So
Yeah.
how's that for you, listeners? 2 big brains
That's
coming
deep.
at you.
Resident fill-in today.
Friends of the show and
Yeah.
deep thinkers.
My man.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
ready to have some good conversation.
Is
For
this
sure.
my water?
For sure. Yeah.
Making sure. We got a lot of shit going on here on the table.
We do.
And we have a
changed
new
it.
arrangement of cameras.
Yep.
Got my bro here. Yeah. You're way down there though.
Yeah, I like to do that. Makes you look bigger.
I mean, I'm already bigger and
He loves you that much, man.
circumference number
Well,
one.
Oh,
but
You sit up higher. I got the lounge.
I don't need to feel bigger. I just am.
I meant taller, not.
We're not talking
bigger.
about dicks, are we?
No, God, no.
We're
We're
not
not
about
white,
that.
bro.
It may happen by the end of the night.
Maybe.
Stick around to see.
You never
Don't
know.
stick anything at this point.
Hopefully these cameras got some good zoom on it.
This just says I got another reel from you.
I just sent you one other one. It's kind of a wild card, so like,
Okay.
Oh, yeah. If we get crazy.
I'll let you know if we get to that point.
That is something to look forward to tonight.
Yeah.
Multiple
Yeah,
rabbit
for sure.
holes of conspiracy crossroads.
That's why I was saying, you're asking if we were going to have this segment. I'm like, dude, at least 60% of this is going to be.
It's comical how many people have actually asked about why didn't your episode have conspiracy crossroads? Oh, I don't know. We were talking to the sheriff for one. We were talking to a representative of the state. I don't know.
We kind of did because we got into that thing.
So last week I intended on starting the episode by telling you guys about my time in Wise County and like my wife's business and thanking you for the elected officials this segment. And what did we make it? 4 minutes into the episode and we're already rabbit trailing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I would like to know what these people think about conspiracy theories, because some of them, like we've talked about, it's not really conspiracy theory when it's true. And most of these things, not most, but like we were talking about Alex Jones earlier, the dude's batting average in hindsight
is pretty damn good.
Pretty good.
Pretty
you
solid.
know. He messed up on Sandy Hook. It was terrible.
And Jade Helm.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, Jade Helm was the big mobilization of the military out in far west Texas. They were mobilizing into Walmart parking lots, and they were about to impose martial law. Glenn Beck even bought into that one and started jumping on.
Oh my gosh!
That
I've never heard of
bandwagon.
this. I feel ignorant.
Yeah.
I am ignorant
We're
right
gonna have
now,
to
and I'm not anymore because that's.
Artificial intelligence is going to fix all of it. So
Oh,
it's going to.
Okay, yeah, artificial
We got
intelligence.
a little bit of that on there.
So it goes without asking. We got to talk to the chief a little bit.
Yeah.
About his endeavors since
Talk
you
to the
were on
chief
here
about the
last.
chief.
Things have changed. Things have you've grown and
Man, it's been good, dude.
okay.
Yeah, because what were you open a couple months when we had you on the first time, or
No, he wasn't open.
Weeks.
yeah, weeks.
You
Yeah.
weren't open at all yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was open.
Just open. though.
Yeah,
Okay.
barely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just open. No, it's been great, man. And by the way, I just want to say we weren't, this is not a business thing, right? We're just We're just kicking.
some bros
we're just
hanging
kicking.
out,
We
man.
want to get an update from you though.
I know you do.
And throw you a little bone. And
Well, I know. I appreciate it. And the thing is, Heath lives it, because he's part of like one of the many amazing things. All the guys that we have and the gals, it's, sales have grown, blah, 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 right? Business is good in a sense that I'm doing better than I hoped.
sure.
But the true value that I've seen, like I got a text from a guy last night, one of the tribe, who was like, man, you've made a place there. You've got a place where I've got friendships. And he said, and I wouldn't have that. And it was pretty cool, man.
Made you a little emotional.
Yeah, like it is right now.
Yeah, we don't have
It really
napkins
is,
in here,
though.
man.
Yeah, we don't have napkins.
Yeah, no tissues either. Not for the bros. But yeah, that's been the best thing. But we from aesthetically, we've added some decorations thanks to I've got a certain part of the tribe that is really good at spending my money. And I have a chief.
I bet you can't guess who.
I have a chief. But the thing is, dude, Heath comes up with great ideas. You really do.
He's
bro.
amazing at spending other people's money. Let me tell you.
And he brags about that, but it's so true, right? Because it's like, damn, that is a good idea.
yeah.
I went up
That's
to
worth saving and investing into.
I went up to the Honda shop, and Eddie Allen was up there. He's like, your bro just came in, and he basically picked out, tailgates and stuff for your Honda.
Look
machine.
at it. Look out that door.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I sure he did. So you know what? I didn't. What you had picked out, I did not buy. I bought a net instead.
Oh yeah,
I bought a $15 net instead
I found him
of
a
a $300
awesome
tailgate.
I was like, bro, you got to get this.
Heath Taylor, great for the economy
That's
with
right.
other people's money.
That's
Yeah.
right.
No, but it's been good, man, because there's some. We obviously the big thing I think that I do want to talk about is the patio. We finally got the patio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finally
yes.
got the patio, city approved. Now there's a few little things like I'm getting speaker wire run Monday or Tuesday, little stuff like that.
Yeah.
But mainly it's open. The weather, I have no control over that.
Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
But you have indoors in case the weather sucks.
But herein lies the problem. There are patio people, there are chief people, and then there are chief and patio people, right? Indoor and outdoor people. But if they're patio only people, especially at a cigar lounge, like that's something you gotta have it set up for those people to come.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Because I knew going in that a cigar lounge is not like a restaurant, a bar, a bowling alley, whatever. All these places that you can go because we're old school. We're living in 1982 at the
For
Chief,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
In the ER in 1982, where you could smoke in the ER waiting when we were getting our Happy Meals with the little foil ashtrays at McDonald's.
Your children weren't given or getting 100,000 vaccinations.
Right. But the funny thing is that truly, as a society and a civilization here, that's happened. We've moved on where they don't want it. Like we talked about some of the wives. And I don't know of any men who would admit have to do a blowout to my hair and then I can come back. Guys don't get their hair styled. So
No,
it's like if we go in smelling like cigars, no big deal.
Yeah.
But women, it costs a lot of money for them to take care of their hair.
Yes.
And
I know that from personal experience.
me too.
You've had some professional hair care?
No, I have
wife.
I have a line item in my budget for my wife's hair care.
My man with the details. baby.
Can you write that off at the end of the year?
We are now.
Yeah.
That's a good
No,
idea.
we're not.
There's
We're
gotta
gonna
be
look
a
at
way.
it. Yeah. Don't tell them. Don't tell them that.
Got to be part of Mills Travel and Entertainment, right?
However, we can evade taxes, whatever.
But yeah, but the patio will help because I want to create a space where women who don't like smoke can come. And we talked about the steps, and I'm going to go ahead and just talk about the steps.
Yeah.
because I believe it, and I may be wrong. I'd like some wives to come up and test this out, or single women, doesn't matter,
Yeah.
or widows, right?
Any female.
Any female or any guy,
Anybody above the age of 18.
right?
Yeah. Or if a dude has a long
21.
You got to be 21 to smoke?
Yes.
Do you really?
Yes, they changed that.
No shit. I
You
did
didn't
not know that.
Yeah, man.
When?
2 years ago.
Really?
I'll be damned.
Yeah, dude.
During when the world went,
To shit?
Yep.
So
That was 4 years ago, if we can believe it.
I know.
Can you believe that?
it still feels like kind of shitty out there, though. I mean, the shit still exists.
Do you think
Yes.
they did that because they didn't want people to take their mask off to smoke? So they just said, "Screw it, we're changing."
No,
it
the
to
government
21.
solution would have been like, "Oh, you can cut a hole in your mask to put a cigar."
Oh, yeah,
in.
that's probably right.
That's totally fine.
Dude, they were blowing trumpets with it. You remember?
Yeah.
Look, man.
fucking idiots. Hey, what did you? You can get back on the path, but what did What did you bring us? What are we smoking tonight?
yeah.
Oh, those are 3 Partagas samples, and
Focus,
then I'm smoking
focus.
the Alec Bradley.
Yeah, somewhere around.
I can't get it to go.
So you said it's part of a family?
The big, yeah. So they're under the Forged, which is a division of General Cigar, which is a division of
So
Saskatchewan.
I'm
yeah.
officially
Okay.
wearing my green
Cool.
then tonight. I've got my green on.
Yeah.
That's why I picked
Yeah.
this off-green shirt.
So if we can get the wives up, right?
Yeah.
Or this anyone who doesn't want cigar smell, right?
Yeah.
And us as men have a vested interest with our wives, right? Because that's
Kind of. You kind of have to.
yeah, a little priority, right? So you say, honey, we're going to go up there, but we're going to go on the patio, right? You go up on the patio, and then she comes home that night, and guess what? No smoke. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Next time you come up and she's having drinks again because she had drinks the first time. Now you get a few drinks, and then, 1.5 maximum, because I don't condone over usage of
That's
alcohol.
right.
So I truly don't. But then when their heart is merry, right?
Yeah.
You say, hey, why don't you try one of these vanilla ones? Just try one of these sweet ones.
Yeah.
And then if she resisting, no,
You don't push.
done.
Bush.
Yeah.
And then let the girls do it peer pressure, girls' way.
Yeah.
The other ladies who are really good at doing that with you, two not with or
No, you really got to try it. It's so good.
it's not good.
It's so good when it touch your lips. It's so good. It smells so good.
You should have like
and then the hope is if they get over the smell mechanism, when they light that cigar up, man, you discover it's a primal thing, and I truly believe it. Yes, nicotine is in it, but this is a physical. We're all doing something physical here that we
Right.
can see and feel, and
Yeah.
others can see and smell. Right,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
it wasn't made in the lab.
right, and so for whatever reason, there's did you drop it?
Rookie-
just
no, I
ashed
didn't.
all over
I
me.
hit my cord. It's rookie mistake here.
Oh,
No, he's got one. He
I was
just
gonna
hit his cord with
I
it.
thought it might be due to these
Awesome ashtrays.
amazing ashtrays here at the Bros, man.
We
I
spare
love
no
it.
expense at Whiskey Bros HQ.
Hey, that's my fault. That's my fault. I should have brought an ashtray. I'm the cigar guy.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah.
bad.
Don't you have one with a logo on it?
Not the chief logo.
Not yet. Yeah.
I mean, I am sporting your swag.
I
tonight.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Our beloved Matt departed from locality, so my locality hat's a work hat now.
Yep.
Have you talked to him since he left?
No.
Just
hope it's-
text.
Yeah. Well, hey, by the way, that's talking now. I
Oh, I
think.
know. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's talking. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Well, I was there last night and I noticed he wasn't there. So that, yeah.
How was the vibe?
It was, well, I mean, everybody was celebrating St. Patrick's Day, right? So that part, there was a lot of people
Ain't no
there.
wrong with
There,
that.
there was. So
It was a little different.
Remember that time Zach went to locality and didn't invite us? It's already dead, really?
Hey, I found out later that night that you were in Bridgeport also and didn't tell me. So
we were in Bridgeport, and so that's what I was going to. So we went to, after we left the chief, we went to pick up Ghost Bro, and then we went to 1860 to get some pizza and wings. And I noticed that I didn't have my wallet in my pocket, so I texted you, "Hey, did I leave it up there?" So big boy here had to pay for it. So we're sitting in the hot tub, and I'm like, "Man, it's got to be in my truck. It's got to be in my truck." So we get back to my truck at 11 o'clock at night. It's not in there. I'm like,
no.
shit. So I call 1860, and sure enough, they have it. So I went back up there, and the K9 unit was sitting in front of. Were you there?
Sniffing your wallet.
Yep.
No, he was sitting in front of locality.
my funny story, my brother-in-law actually went through training with the girl that was out there with
Oh,
the dog
nice.
last night.
Okay.
Yeah, just side fact.
Yeah.
But what was funny about that, your black screen, your wallet was at 1860.
It was.
And you were at 1860 when you were like, where's my wallet?
Yeah, so the only thing I guess is it slid out of the back of my
Oh, man.
pocket and hit
funny.
the floor, and I had no idea.
But, well, that's enough about Heath's wallet.
Yeah. So anyway, so back to the plan. If they can get into the communal aspect of tobacco,
Yeah.
and it either hits or it doesn't. But at least if they get the defense mechanism about hair. And by the way, I think another strategy is they do their hair and it's expensive, so you don't come like the day after the beauty appointment.
Yeah.
Right.
Come up the literally like I'm going tomorrow to see Sheila.
Or I'm going on Monday.
Whatever, right? Yeah, and it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you can get it. Your church should not judge you if you come in with your hair less than perfect,
Shouldn't.
right? I mean, I'm just saying.
Shouldn't.
That's
It's got
That's
a point,
keyword.
isn't it?
Shouldn't.
So anyway, if they can get past that, then then we'll have even more people coming. And I think they'll be able to experience the same thing that we experience.
Don't you have
the communal family friend? It's a great environment with great people. It truly is, and we fostered something there that, and I think our ratio of amazing people, cool people. To just douchebags is like we're like 950.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's always the one douchebag.
Yeah, and most don't
It's
stick.
always the one.
And most don't.
Yeah, they don't stay around.
Oh man, he's one of the coolest dudes there, man. Like that's what I'm saying. But there are guys, and hey, there are people. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But it's they're not regulars. It's something that they weed you. And I've had to kick a few out.
Yep.
So you have. You've had to bounce some folks.
Yeah.
Sounds like a question.
Yeah. Well, because you own, bartend, janitor, you fix shit.
You do all of it.
Everything, man. It's just the way it is, which is great because I needed that. I needed to stay busy like that.
But you got, this is Whiskey Bros fact checked 100%.
Yes.
You got the county's best humidor too. So even if you don't want to go up there to smoke, you got a fucking great selection to pick from.
And
biggest.
If nothing else, like if you don't want to smell like smoke or whatever, you just run straight to the humidor. I'll hold the door open and you bolt in just to get a smell of it. Because look, every time I walk in the Chief, me personally, I like the smell of leather and cigars and love, right?
Yeah.
Well, just metaphorically
there's some
speaking,
love up
right?
there.
Yeah.
Some funk left around from the night before,
Is
huh?
it salty in here?
Oh man.
So, but the humidor though, like for real, and I forget about it in the course of the day, every day. By the evening, I'm numb to it because I'm in and out.
Sure.
In and out.
Yeah.
But every time, first thing in the morning when I walk in and I smell it, it's like, man, this smells so good in
Yeah,
here.
there's a big
This is why
difference
I did
between
this.
cigar
Yes.
and then cigar smoke.
Well, in the same way that the moldy whiskey was repugnant to every human being, right?
Yes. That's set in the glass for a week.
That humidor will. I don't know how you can resist that smell.
Yeah.
Right.
And most people do say that. Like most people I know, same way with like pipe tobacco. They're like, oh, I love the smell
Love
of
the
pipe
smell of it.
tobacco.
Love it.
It's a whole lot sweeter smelling than any cigar that you ever got a hold of. But
Yeah.
Yep, most people find pipe tobacco pretty pleasant, even the ladies. But back to the ladies. Don't you have a dedicated ladies' night?
We do.
Yes.
Yeah, first Thursday of every month.
Okay.
Which that's what I've got to. That's another puzzle we got to solve. Are they getting their hair done on Thursday or Wednesday? I can't interfere with that. I can't compete with it.
I don't know, Mr. Line Item, when are they getting their hair?
Yes.
She's on about a 4-month rotation.
Okay.
Damn. 4 months.
Yeah.
Every 4 months she
Yeah,
gets her
she
hair
gets
done?
her hair done
See,
three
I'm
times a
lucky,
year.
bro. Mine don't go pay
So the real question is, when are they shampooing their hair?
every
Yes.
night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
Not all the women do every night.
No, they don't. And by the way, that is a broad like the hair care routine.
Yeah.
I wasn't applying that to all women. There are certain women that is like Heather. Obviously, my wife doesn't care. I mean, she owns a cigar line. She shouldn't. Right?
Okay. Well, if you're a lady and you listen to the Whiskey Bros and you wash your hair and you're interested in cigars, call the dock line and let us know how often you
There
wash
you
your
go.
hair.
There you go.
What day
That's
of
a
the
good
week is the
question.
best to have the ladies'
Seriously.
night?
And then and another thing too is dry shampoo does help. Not from experience, but like your experience.
Yeah,
my
it
wife.
don't help us.
Well,
I guess we can put some on our beard a little bit.
My wife is going to be like in the realm of your customer that's hardest to reach, and
Yeah.
so I think I have an idea that might be fun and attract people like that is just having a party, right? Like it could be out on the
Smoke-free
patio.
party?
Well, I mean, maybe it's smoke, maybe it's
You're going
not.
a little
but
far there,
I'm-
sir.
No, I'm thinking like 4th of July,
I
right?
sacrificed one night.
Would you?
Night. Smoke free.
Kind of selling yourself out, isn't it?
No, it's not.
It better be like a random Tuesday.
Just to
well,
get-
whatever it is, it's going to be like that's it, and that's our shot for at least who knows a year. By that point, I'd probably have it.
It's going to be that one night that somebody drives down from like Canada. It's like, hey man, I heard you on the Whiskey Bros, and I want to smoke your cigar, and then you're like, can't tonight.
Sorry.
Because here's what I would
Picked the
ask
wrong night.
of the guys who come, right, of the tribe, the guys and gals who come. I'm saying guys like northern guys, like
Yeah.
you guys when you walk in the room.
guys.
Yeah, you
Use
guys.
guys,
So, what was that? What were we talking about?
women, trying to get women into
Yeah,
the
Women throw a
Yeah,
party.
and then the party, the non-smoke party.
Non-smoking.
Yeah, the non-smoking
so,
party.
We as the tribe would be willing to let's say, all right, I get what he's doing. We'll go on the patio tonight, right? Or we'll go to 1810,
1860
1860.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1860.
18
Why that year? Is it the street number?
Is it 1860?
1860.
But why is that? Do y'all know the
He,
number?
he told us. We had him on the podcast, but he told us. But that's been many podcasts ago.
Oh, but that's on y'all, not on me. Though.
Yeah, well, we don't barely remember what we talked about last podcast, bro.
Yeah, obviously, I
Tell
didn't
me
remember
about
you were even open by the time you were on the last.
Here's where I'm going with that. Is I think if I could just get my wife in the door and she could see how cool it is,
Yeah.
I think she'd come back.
So his,
if you can, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, maybe it's a smoke-free night. Maybe it's a party, 4th of July,
Well,
cookout.
Yeah,
You
but
just get
even
them there,
the
then they'll want to
I'll
come back.
consult with the tribe.
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
but even the smoke. Like, so my wife's not huge on it. But the first time I got her up there, dude, she fell in love with his couches and was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god!" And then she started talking to the chief. And
I'm speaking to my wife right now.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go.
Yeah,
you
just
got to
once,
try
yeah.
it.
So Mayor Black out of Paradise is a patron of your
Yes.
establishment, and she's. I told her she wants to be on a mission to get my wife up there, and if that happens, then my wife can.
And our wives are getting pretty friendly, so maybe we can get them to go together.
Evangelists.
Yeah.
we
There
need
you go.
evangelists out in the community.
There you go.
For real.
Town criers. Go to the Chief Cigar Lounge.
It's still the best. Social media.
Yeah,
I think we should bring that
Advertising,
back.
Google reviews, all important, very important.
word of mouth.
Dude, it's still king.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's not. Well, it slightly diminishes the others, but word of mouth. I'm old school like
So
that.
I've
I've seen it too many times.
I have an MBA and we studied word of mouth.
Human psychology.
It is exactly that. The success rate of somebody following up after a word of mouth exposure versus a social media exposure
Because I know you.
is like 8 times higher.
And word of mouth, even in the sense that for your friend to tell you in person or your friend to post it on social media, telling you in person, it's like you keep getting down to these core human behaviors. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
And that's exactly why that's important. So, ladies, Chief branded dry shampoo available April 14th.
You heard it first here.
Heath can put it in his beard as a test.
That's right. I'll put it in
So
there.
yeah, best humidor in the county, best views of the county
For sure.
all the way to Abilene, folks.
Yep.
All the way to Abilene.
Or like
Abilene.
Eastern San Diego. Right?
yeah, you might be able to see
Yeah,
California.
depending on the cloud coverage and the sun, when the sun gets just right,
San
you can
Andreas.
get a little glimmer off the ocean, just a little.
Because the earth is
It's flat, yeah, so you can just see forever.
There's a mountain
Oh,
range that
man.
blocks us, so even if
Yeah,
it was
but-
flat.
Oh shit! And best bartender in Wise County.
Wise County, that's right,
about
people,
that?
right there. You're looking at him.
Yeah,
Damn.
that was something, man. But I'm grateful for that, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't,
All right.
I don't like talking about stuff.
What?
I get weird about it, man. It's weird.
Yeah,
Sentimental.
every time I
But I'm appreciative. I don't want to. That's why I get all.
He does.
I have childhood issues, man. I don't accept praise very well.
and then he screwed up
Right.
by telling me this. So now every time I'm in there and somebody new comes in the bar, I'm like, "Hey, best bartender!"
Best
He's like,
bartender, you came into the right place.
he just puts his head down.
well, but I'm
Son
not
of
so
a bitch.
messed up that I didn't hang it up on the side of the bar.
Yeah,
I mean,
you gotta put it up.
Oh, and I forgot one more.
I just don't like talking about it.
Best. Listen, this is best. This is important. Okay. Best playlist in Wise County.
Dude.
Oh, for sure.
Fucking hell, man. Best playlist.
I got
in Wise
another
County.
one. Best, only because I've not been in the woman's men's restroom part.
Just wait.
Yeah.
You've seen.
Oh, yeah, I
You've
know.
seen what's to come, right?
Yeah.
So what I did, I went on Temu and ordered a bunch of stuff, and Chinese, whatever. It's all
Yeah,
Chinese.
it's all Chinese.
Yeah,
Don't come at
the
me on
first 100 items on Amazon are all Chicom
uh-huh.
stuff. So
the first billion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything. Anyway, so
Everything on this table right now,
dude. I
except the
mean,
whiskey.
yeah. You think
no,
this
I'm starting
Yeah.
to question that.
custom made in
China.
Juneau, Alaska.
China.
It's like no, dude.
So there's a loophole on that now. Is that what they do is they assemble all the parts which come from China, but they just assemble it
Here, yeah.
in Wisconsin. It's American made.
Yep.
I mean, okay.
Same thing with our beef.
What were we talking about
yes.
on that?
Your playlist.
Playlist.
Best playlist.
No, toilet.
Yeah,
Toilet
the toilet. Yeah, Temu.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah, back to Temu.
So I go on Temu and I get all the, and dude, you can get some really cool shit. I mean, really cool shit on Temu. All those wall hangings. So I ordered these that were canvas, and I thought and they were all like $7, $12 for really cool canvas art. And only one of them actually came with the stretched with the sticks, and the other were literally just rolls of
Rolled
canvas.
up
And I was
in
like,
there.
oh damn, what do I do with this? Like you can't tack it to the wall,
Right.
and you got to build a frame, cut angles. I was like, some guys, that's your gift, right?
Right. Yeah,
I
yeah.
can do it, but I hate doing it. Carpentry of any kind like that, it just drains me. So I've got so I'm taking volunteers that I will pay if you will make stretch, because I call Hobby Lobby. Guess how much it is? So I paid $7 for the one that's in the chief bathroom, and I've got another one a little bit bigger. How much would that cost?
$37.
$80.
Wow.
Hobby Lobby?
Yeah, man. I was like, dude,
God.
I paid $3 for this thing. You
Some
know,
Joe Biden inflation right there, man. At Hobby Lobby. God.
I mean, I know. I made the St. George.
Did you
frame.
try all copy?
Yeah, iOffice, iCopy will stretch
iOffice or whatever the
canvas.
hell that is.
I don't do that.
I bet they
Yeah,
do.
they will. They will stretch canvas.
Yeah, they got all kinds of
No shit.
picture frame shit going on up there.
And all you got to do is walk right down the hill.
Just
I literally just throw it.
You can
hey.
form it in a paper airplane.
Yeah, man. Tie it to one of the dog's collars. Get it, boy.
Yeah.
What?
The more you know.
Just as a disclaimer, Whiskey Bros are not yet affiliated or sponsored by iCopy or iOffice, but we're
It's
willing
out
to
there,
take
though.
applications. Yeah, and following up with the best playlist, we finally got some musicians coming on the show, bona fide bands, some local acts that we're pretty proud to have finally.
Yep. Well, technically, as we speak, only one.
Well,
Are you naming names yet?
no, because
You got to tell us that, dude. I was about to blurt.
Can we name?
we can name the one that's reached back out to us, but we're still, you know how musicians are, you know. God, I don't mind.
Don't say his name now.
Yeah, I literally said,
Skip this part.
pick any day and let me know. And they're like, okay, well, we'll get back to you. We got to look at our schedule and look at that. And then,
Hey, man, we're artists, dude.
oh, yeah.
We're creative people.
There
you know?
you are. Pick a goddamn date. That's all I need. But anyways,
You got to talk to the
That's
drummer.
why I'm not a full-time musician.
You got to talk
yeah.
to the drummers. The drummers are the ones that have their shit together. Okay?
that's right. I know.
They are
Trust
the
me,
backbone of
trust
the
me.
band in more ways than just one.
Trust me, I know.
We're locking it down, dude. We hold the time, dude.
We
We're
do.
in.
Yes, we do. But the infamous, the big local act of DFW, not really to the scale of Pantera, but just as badass.
Yeah, no, what
Yeah.
would we say they were in a mix of somebody and somebody? I don't remember.
They cover. I mean, everything.
They do a lot,
They cover
yeah.
the genre realm.
Where'd we
sure.
meet them in like Lola's trailer park?
Lola's
or something like
trailer
that?
park,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's when we first met. Just off of a whim. We weren't even supposed to go there.
My wife planned a badass night out, and we ended up just falling in love with this band and these guys.
Look at them
and,
smokos.
Yeah, I'm impressed. So yes,
Smokos.
the infamous are coming on.
Yeah.
No, they call them O's.
That's what I just said.
the
Smokos.
smokos.
You can't combine smoke
just
rings,
O's.
which is us, and O's, which is them.
So you just a no.
No,
Yeah, but
we're smoke
does it
ring
count as
specific.
cigar, or they're probably used to the vapes?
Well, but I got some guys that like Drew blows a hell of an O,
Really?
as he calls them. Yeah. He's millennials and younger. Gen Z does it too. My kids call them O's.
There you go. Go to the chief to get the big O's.
Yep.
So what is
smoke
what
rings.
is the technique? Because I do not know how to do it at
Oh
all.
man, that's
You got to be able to work your jaw and lips good. And Chief
okay.
is pro at it.
You have to control your gag reflex.
Okay, a little bit of tongue action.
All right, moving on.
Dirty.
Zach.
Need some more whiskey over there, Chief?
Wouldn't mind passing the EH.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's-
The old junkie E.H.
And
Taylor
this-
we got.
this
floating
right
around.
here,
Oh, yeah, I need to try some of that
That's
too.
some
That's
good
new.
stuff, man.
This episode not brought to you by the
Yeah,
Colonel.
that's who we need to be sponsored.
You've had
by
the
for
Taylor
sure.
already, so try that.
Wouldn't
That's
that be nice?
10th
Wouldn't
Mountain
that
Division
be?
out of Colorado brewed. Distilled.
What about Garrison?
Garrison Brothers? Man.
They're a Texas company. Don't you want to get their business?
Yeah,
They are. but
Garrison.
because they're
like
from
Wayne's
Texas.
World.
Yeah.
I'm not
because
saying
they're
it's
from-
gross. I'm saying it's amazing. Garrison
amazing.
Brothers.
Garrison
Yeah.
Brothers.
Just because it's from Texas doesn't mean it's better.
Thank you.
Kentucky's got the market cornered on bourbon.
Okay, so what was that Vegas one? Smoke Wagon?
Smoke Wagon. And
it's-
it's good. It's
Yeah.
not what they blew it up to be.
It's all
but-
sourced.
they
It's
were
all sourced
marketing.
from Indiana. All the MGP.
Yeah, it
product.
is. But I mean, there's some really good MGP stuff. But
Yeah. It's just all marketing hype. That's all it is.
it was. Yeah.
We have to be willing to admit at this point that Indiana's got some killer spirits coming out of it.
Yeah, it does. It really does. But
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It's
If not killer, at least a lot.
It's really
Yeah, a lot
polluted and
is the-
diluted the market. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't go to Scotland and say, "Man, I'd really like a nice Japanese whiskey." So
Be kind of out of place.
Do you like Japanese?
Whiskey?
People in general.
Animation.
he was just talking
Anime?
directly to his wife. So
Oh no.
No, I think Japanese
Yeah.
whiskey. Is that what you were talking about? Yeah.
I mean,
I hope. Jeez.
we all
I
better,
laid it out there.
We all better
He
like
picked up the
Japanese
joke.
whiskey.
Thank you.
Nika? Is that one of the?
Nika?
Well, that's one I have.
Okay.
Which Nika? Nika from the barrel.
Days.
Oh no, you can throw that in the trash.
Don't even say that.
Do we have that back there?
Brought to you by Nika Days,
I think
the
the
best
Nika-
Japanese
I think
whiskey
we
in Wise
finished it.
County.
No, Nika by the barrel
Yeah, it's
is
gone.
the best one.
Nika-
And you're the only person that would have asked for that, so I get a whole bottle of it. just for you to maybe get a nip once every 2 months.
The Nika
No.
coffee,
Well,
Kofi.
do you
Coffee
have
one,
a-
that's
do
the
you
one
have-
that I've had.
Yeah, the coffee. Yeah, but
It's all about
the Nika
supply and
Day
demand.
is like a light beer.
yeah
Yeah,
of scotches.
Yeah.
which let's.
it's not even really
Single malt,
Scotch,
sir.
but
Single
Single
malts.
malt, but
That's
and it's
just-
not even really Scotch because it's Japan,
I know,
and
but
they
y'all
do their
know.
whole-
You know the Japanese. It tastes more Scotchy than it does.
That's
bourbon.
another
For
thing.
sure,
You don't
for
go
sure.
to Scotland and say, I'd like a Scotch. Because they're
I'd
going to
like a whiskey.
You want whiskey?
I'd like
Yeah,
a whiskey.
Yeah.
a whiskey.
They spell it different,
Fucking
too.
whiskey, all right
There it
now.
goes.
They spell it different too.
Anyways, but we all better like Japanese whiskey because they are the ones that save the American bourbon industry.
Yep.
I don't-
Financially,
Financially,
So
yes,
tell
sir.
me, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know the dirty, gritty details of it, but
decade. What decade?
90s to early 2000s.
No shit.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was like 10 at the
Beam
time.
Suntory is owned by a Japanese company.
Okay.
So yes, they absolutely saved the American bourbon industry.
And you know the Japanese aren't commies, so they're not.
No, they're not.
Fuck commies. Can we say that?
Yeah.
I believe so.
No, I'm just-
It's
Throw
open
them
air.
out of helicopters.
They're. I mean, look. Are they a Christian culture? No, but they've got values there. Like they got values enough to fly a plane into a battleship. Right. Whenever you're actually, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I could parachute out. And,
Yeah.
Right.
You can get the plane just to go that
Yeah.
direction, and
They're that dedicated.
Yeah,
right?
no.
So if they come in and do that,
but that'd be given up, and they don't. That's what they don't do.
maybe that's what they're doing with
No.
buying the bourbon industry. Is they're
They're
kamikazing it. But they're
kamikazing
not
it.
commies, so they don't have a long-term strategy like the commies do.
No,
they're like,
they're
no,
not.
we're in now.
I think they are financially vested for their own
I
benefit.
think they're our bros. I think they love whiskey culture.
Yeah.
And they are like, no, we can't have this go away.
The dude, have you read the whole background of Nika and how it started and all that? He was like
No.
he was like an apple juice dude or some sort of juice guy.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, you should.
And he lets us
I
sit
do
now
now.
too
Oh
long.
no, because you missed. I forgot when we did the Whiskey Bros Whiskey Night. You got the COVID.
I got the Rona.
Yeah,
Is that the first and only?
No.
How many times you had it?
Oh, I don't know. According to Doc, like 5 or 6 now.
How many vaccines did you get?
None. Absolutely fucking none.
How many boosters did you get?
Absolutely none.
It's okay.
So the first round of corona or COVID that came through, my wife got it, and after 4 days of being sick, we're like, "Oh, you're fine. Get tested." She got tested. Oh, you got the COVID. I had it. Never had any symptoms. I went and did an antibody test.
I don't trust them.
I was completely asymptomatic.
Earth is flat. I don't trust them.
I don't.
The
either.
antibody test? There's nothing to disbelieve about the antibody test.
Yeah, it's just
right?
where they
Well,
have-
because here's the thing: they show the flu and they show COVID. You know,
Yeah.
so
I don't know. I had a very low count of antibodies.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
but you
is-
never lost your smell or
Nope.
taste.
Nope.
y'all?
I
No
never
symptoms.
did. I had it twice.
And didn't see, dude, that was the worst. I got the OG strain in July 2020, and I lost it. I only lost it for like 2 or 3 weeks, but I contemplated like I may have to go to a monastery, kill myself. I don't know what's going on, but darkness is creeping in because I can't
Taste or smell,
enjoy.
yeah, anything.
So did you
Well-
go balls deep with that? Because I've seen these videos when people lost their shit, they were like just taking full bites out of a garlic clove. Or
No.
or
Oh my
gosh.
just
I
to
have
see
not
if it
seen
would
that.
Every morning,
kick it in.
every morning to get the coffee can and like
Inhale
wear it
it,
as a face
basically,
mask.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the only mask I wore during
gotta
COVID
imagine
was
there's
my
a-
coffee can
And
face
you,
mask.
and you
to
still
try to
couldn't
get-
smell it.
I remember the moment that I did, the day, the morning, the moment, right? And it was like, I got a tinge of it. I was like, oh.
Panic released.
Well, because in July of 2020, they didn't know if it was going to be permanent or not. And my dumb ass goes on WebMD.
Okay. Oh my god.
You know?
Like, what
So
do
you
they
have
know?
cancer. You don't have COVID. You have
Yeah.
cancer.
So what was already misinformation
And
before we knew
hemorrhoids.
about misinformation becomes double misinformation. And I'm like, dude, it's going to be permanent. I'm
So
fucked.
screwed.
Man.
Which I think
You don't have
Okay.
COVID. You have butt cancer.
Well, here's a little known fact that tying into the music and rock and roll. Michael Hutchins, right, from NXS, committed suicide. He lost his sense of taste and smell because he got hit, and it was literally like 18 months after that, or maybe 2 years, something like that, that he committed suicide.
Just because he lost those sensory.
I mean, it's not just because, but I mean, you know,
But I have heard of
What does
people
that
like
do to the human psyche? It's
Yeah.
gotta,
that's a big
Oh
thing.
no, it's big.
Now,
Yeah.
I have friends who have done that, but they're beautiful people. One friend in particular, I can think
Beautiful
of. She has,
people.
She's a great person back in Georgia, but she has no sense. And her character, it's almost like it's like being handicapped. Ain't no like it
Oh
is.
no, sure.
I can kind of walk through that a little bit because I've read a couple books on neurology and it's kind of a hobby of mine. But it's once you create that brainwave loop,
Yep.
it exists for the rest of your life. Now it might get weaker or it might get stronger, But the panic that induces when you're like, oh, I lost my sense of smell, I lost my sense
Yes.
of tasting, that sticks with you. And so then you have to
Correct.
come to terms with it.
Right.
And there's some people that can't come to terms with that exists. Like,
Yes.
oh, now I can get blind. I can get whatever can happen.
You can
to
lose
me.
your senses. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying what was fucked up, like so Hutchins, his was due to a traumatic injury. So his was a nerve, like getting paralyzed, right? The nerve was severed, and that was it. He's done.
Yeah.
The COVID thing was much weirder, right? Because though it would kill the receptors, and then they would come back, and that's why some people to this day have they smell coffee, and it smells like cat litter.
Our buddy Hafid is.
Because when the cells are growing back that line the nerve,
Yeah.
because that's what it is. The nerve itself is fine. It didn't
Yeah.
damage the nerve. It's the cells that line it.
communicate to them.
Yeah, and so you get puzzle pieces that go where they shouldn't go.
Yeah.
And then boom, you smell cat shit whenever it's a cup of or can't eat cheddar sour cream chips like my daughter can't anymore.
That's torture.
Now I got mine back though. But
Yeah.
thank God.
Hafid caught the Delta strain.
Okay.
And his sense of smell is still not right.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's still not right. And then Garrett, I think, is still. I don't
Yeah.
think his is still 100% either.
Oh, that's what I was going to say a while ago, and it might have been Garrett. I can't remember, but somebody I know lost it forever, and then they did something like they got an IV of something or something, and it kicked it back in.
Interesting.
It might not have been Garrett, but it was. And I can't remember exactly what they did.
Welcome to Conspiracy Corner.
Yeah.
There was another side effect too, and a big restaurateur of DFW ended up killing himself because of it.
Oh, no.
And I can attest to this because it made mine worse. It either gave people tinnitus or it made it worse. And mine, all of a sudden, one day out of nowhere, just doubled in strength.
Dude, and we don't talk about this, and we obviously talk about vaccine injury, which is a very real thing, very real. Not only anecdotally do I know it, but the data is overwhelming. It's just overwhelming. So what we don't talk about is just getting COVID.
Sure, yeah.
It was
It's normal now.
Well, and it's ironic you use normal because the word that I've used and typically if you just randomly poll people who've had COVID, especially early on, how did you feel or what did it feel like? And the overwhelming word seemed to be weird.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was, dude. It was just weird. I remember when I felt it, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Everybody's symptoms were different.
Dude, I was foggy, and I'd never been foggy like that to where I literally had a cloud about me. Like I'm just walking in a stupor. I could lay down and sleep at any given moment, which is not my gift. I'm the guy that stays up. I close at midnight, and then I still don't go to sleep till 4.
Wow.
Just because I'm
Yeah.
I had a very different experience. I didn't feel anything at all.
Really?
Nothing.
No symptoms? Nothing?
I mean, yeah, nothing really.
And yet that's weird because you got a virus that didn't feel anything. Boom, weird.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just the opposite. I still to this day don't even know if I've ever got it because I got when he went and got his, I've got 2 antibodies and 0.
I've been saying for a while we need to take your blood and like anti-venom,
Drink it.
except it's for just being a fucking
go.
badass.
Speaking
Start
of-
selling your blood, man.
Yeah,
That's not
speaking of anti-venom is the reason why I didn't get COVID is
That's
because I got
exactly
so
right.
much fucking anti-venom in me.
Dude,
Could be.
that was a whole thing, man.
Yeah.
No, well,
The
there's-
gout flared up after that. You got,
All my things after the anti-venom.
but you got gifts as well.
But there's
You didn't
now
realize it.
empirical
COVID.
evidence, and we discussed this one night, that the ventilators did way more harm than good.
Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh,
Absolutely.
That they were causing infection
Oh, yeah.
and just exacerbating
It was the combination of ventilators and remdesivir, man. That
yeah.
remdesivir was bad stuff, and that was as they said, COVID protocol coming from the heights of the federal bureaucracy.
So I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but
It's the truth. It's okay.
here's one of the biggest problems that I have was that. Yeah, so ventilators are supposed to go through multiple rounds of technology, iteration, release, testing, and then eventually, when you get to a point where you prove that they work,
kind of like a vaccine should be.
You put it into production. You put it in the hospitals. During COVID, we had colleges that were just having students that have never developed anything in their life making ventilators and sending them to the hospital, and then they would use them on people.
Wow.
Yep. Jeez.
The evils. Let's just I consider it a moral evil, even though some of the people committing those moral evils may have been acting in ignorance. Right.
Yeah.
That still doesn't take away that this was evil.
Yeah, we absolutely kind of make the point known that this is not disparaging hospital staff. Those poor people were
no, not at
run.
all.
I mean, running to the ground, and the nursing staff and hell, most doctors were going after just information they had.
It was okay. there's two ways to look at it. One, you're trying to help as many people as you can help.
Absolutely. And
Okay?
I think that's the case for 90% of probably medical.
You cannot deny
Yeah.
that there was an opportunity to profit.
Well,
It's a
and I
shit
would
show.
and I would also say that I'm married to someone who got vaccinated, so I do not judge anybody for getting.
I'm vaccinated myself.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Everybody has their reason and their line in the sand, and
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
they were able and willing, whatever.
Yeah.
You know. Now here's what I'm saying: it's the ones who just jolly went into it, even.
Without looking into anything.
That would still, maybe they were convinced scientifically, right? That doesn't disparage their character at all. So no matter what your choices, I just was against. But I was freaking out on masks. Because remember, vaccines, those take 3 years, trials, errors.
Takes 3 years just to get like the first.
Correct. It's still under emergency
yes.
authorization.
Oh, yeah.
4 years. Well, 4
No,
years
it's not
from the
anymore.
release.
That's
They finally get it. got it.
It's done.
Okay.
Okay. But either way,
A long time. Yeah.
yes, it was for at least a year.
Yeah.
Enough chaos that it was at least a year.
Yeah,
It was
for
awesome.
sure.
Thanks
But-
for showing
But
me
it's also the people that were screaming. The rest of us are lepers, and
No, that's the ones that
those
fuck
people.
those people.
Fuck
Yes.
those people.
Yes.
And the Austrian immigrants that were a said governor of a state on the left coast that were like, "Screw your freedom,
Dude, how could he say that when that man came here? You know, he had Hitler Youth Associations, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And he comes here and he says, "I want to be a Republican," right? Okay, well, you
Okay,
would be
great, yeah.
And then all of a sudden he gets sucked in with George H.W. Bush, former head of the CIA,
Yep.
right? And then he gets sucked into that world. Now he's buddies with the Clintons and all them. For someone to come from that and say, "Screw your freedom," I don't care. What is something that we could say that you could say, "Screw your freedom"? As far as, I mean, there are obviously lines in the sand morally.
Taxes.
Can you
They
can
tell
you,
us every day.
Can you rephrase that one more time?
In the sense that it would cause you to react in a vociferous manner.
What
like
is
him.
something that can happen that would cause me
that
to
you would say, "Screw your freedom, give me my kids"? You know,
members of
Right.
NAMBLA, screw your freedom."
no, my children. I'm rescuing them from fake ISIS hostages that or terrorists. You said it's that level that would make me say, "Well, screw my freedom," or
Yeah.
"Screw your freedom."
Yeah.
Don't chop my family in half. You
Yes.
know?
Yeah, so I mean,
Absolutely.
we all give up aspects of our freedom at times for to benefit in another area, but to permanently give it up.
Freedom is not absolute either.
Right.
Because here's the thing: we are ultimately accountable to God, and that's where the beginning of wisdom is. What? Fear.
Yep, the
Fear is
fear-
because
fear of
you fear
God.
God. That's exactly right. So you don't have freedom to do whatever you want. You can't get married and then just go have sex with another woman. Have sex with your best friend's wife.
I mean, you can, but
You can, but there are consequences
Face
to
the
it.
consequences.
That's
brother.
the key word right
And
there.
the thing is those consequences here on this side of heaven reflect the same consequences in a much more eternal state later on. And the thing is, like Jesus said, don't fear him who can destroy your body. Fear him who can cast body and soul into hell. It's
Right.
like, whoa.
I'm locked in now. So
Cameras on these two now.
that way all night.
so that gets into kind of like the OnlyFans culture and
Yes.
and all that. And so I mean, yeah, that's
We've abandoned it.
yeah. So I don't know if you've seen some of those videos that are going around where they'll basically take people that are complete opposite ends of the spectrum and they'll put them at the same table. and
Whatever
make 'em just
podcast.
go debate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Whatever podcast is good with that.
Man, yeah, that's a hard topic because and I'm gonna take the devil's advocate approach here. Not saying that I agree.
Oh,
with
no.
it.
This,
Yeah. Just get the conversation going.
Heck yeah.
So
Are you an OnlyFans model?
no, not currently. Not
You
currently.
said there was a kink for guys at bars with beards.
There
right?
is, man. Yeah.
Out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Only at the Chief.
Yeah.
So I think the economy's getting terrible.
That's part of it.
And that some people are just having to do what they have to do to get by. And if there's men that are willing to pay for that and they're able to make a living, is that an honest living? No, I don't think so at all. Is that good for our population? Is that a good way for us to go? No, I don't think so. But
Should she have the freedom to do it?
I think we need to, rather than looking at the fact of what they're doing, we
She
need to
should
look
have
at
the freedom to do it.
the well, and I'm not trying to take a freedom approach here. I'm trying to take a, why are they doing it?
A survival
Well,
approach
yeah, yeah.
out of necessity.
Look, we can say that's wrong, right? It's okay. If your daughter is getting an OnlyFans account, it's okay to say it's wrong and I disagree with it. And it's damaging to her. It's damaging to society. It's damaging in every way possible. It does nothing good other than accomplish masturbation, which I'm a Catholic. masturbation is inherently an evil.
Yeah. I'm a Christian.
Right?
Do you go to the church off Deer Park?
No.
Okay.
That's a whole thing. We'll
Okay,
get into that.
that's fine. I go
Back to masturbation.
Okay, sorry. No. I'm a Christian as well, and I go to the church that is right across from there.
Yeah,
Crossroads. That's Crossroads. That's
Oh,
where
no,
I go.
We'll talk, my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll throw some names down.
But as far as,
I like my church. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
But as far as judging them, that's not our place. But we can definitely judge that action as wrong. In the same way we can judge any action that is wrong as wrong. You know, like you mentioned, children, right? Anything with children, abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, you name it. It's inherently
Trafficking.
all of it, taking their freedoms away from them,
Yeah.
their freedom to sexually autonomy, their, things like that, violating them as human beings.
the only reason I'm taking this approach is because I think that for people to change their actions, you have to meet them where they are.
Oh, you're doing the where they are. Okay,
right. That's
yeah. But you can still speak truth to them. You can't
Absolutely.
because here's the thing, and this is a good point. Like at the Chief. So at the Chief, I have multiple patrons who have bought shirts already, unlike others, for their mother who asked.
No,
I'm giving her one.
well, you give her one.
I am.
I've
giving
told
her
her.
one. She was my number one fan for the whole
Yeah, I know.
month.
I
dude.
seen that. I told her. I said, "Show me the money. I'll
Yeah.
get you one."
But at the Chief, we have homosexual couples who come up there. We have just homosexual single people who come up there. We have we've got all manners of walks of life.
and then we have those that we just call homosexuals.
Yes, which is basically everyone else. Everyone else, right? Especially, you know how bros are.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're just messing around, though. But the thing is, I love them. I treat them with dignity. I treat them with respect.
Yep.
They know what I believe. I know what they believe, and that's okay.
Yep.
Because ultimately, I'm not the judge of your soul. God is.
Yeah.
So I can love you, and I will love you, and I will. But
Because you
but
just-
there are lines too. There are
Yes.
gender specific restrooms at the Chief.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, you
but-
just said how I believe that we're supposed to be. Lighter, it's over here.
Yeah,
He's got it right
Zach's
now.
got it.
There we go.
You basically just
It's on the
explained
fritz.
Jesus to people.
Yeah, well, you're living it, right? And that's why what I said earlier, like just something like the bartender thing. Like I don't want to talk about that, man. I really don't, but I do want to show you. I want to serve you, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I've found. That's one of these little hidden, unexpected gifts that I didn't expect, which is unexpected. So I defined it twice.
Yes.
Is that the serving other people, right? Serving my friends. Like I get emotional talking about it because it's weird, right? We usually don't do it the way that I do it with you guys at the Chief. I clean up after you. I clean up your mess. I serve your drinks. I wash your dishes. I'm your bitch for a night in one way. But it's not like that because I'm not. I'm your friend and I'm doing that for you. It's like washing the disciples' feet, right? There's now, of course,
You're more
and
like our prostitute because we're paying you.
no,
for
you
that.
no. And see, and that's the beauty of it. It's really weird because it's a friendship that I've never experienced
Right.
before. Where you pay for the drinks, but what's I've noticed too, especially you, who's good at spending other people's money.
Yes.
But honestly, Heath is part of this culture of people that you feel an ownership there, dude. I know you do.
Oh, yeah.
You feel an ownership. That's why we want the members cards.
Yeah.
Right? Because we feel a part of this place.
Yeah.
Because you are a part of it. Because you're.
Right.
I can't pay the bills.
Yeah, without
It, they'll come close in on me. You know, I mean, and by the way, if we ever do get closed in on over freedoms, if there's any mandates that ever come back, I'm going to put this out there. The Chief is the last stand. That's
it's the Alamo.
it's the Alamo, man. Where we're cheating in. You know,
You got a good
We have a
hilltop
place to go.
vantage, 360-degree view.
Yeah,
You
up
can
on the
see them
hill.
coming
Yeah,
from
we're
all
good.
directions.
bro. I mean, honestly, like we don't
just-
have mountains to nestle in like Joseph Smith did
Yeah.
back in Utah. Like we got to be up high.
We'll raise the come and take it flag up on the top.
I mean, if you can go to the pond and the lake where all your guns got lost and find that sniper rifle
we'd
that
have
you
to
had,
find them. Yeah.
So you said something on your last episode that caught my attention. I wrote it down. The
What episode would
ability-
that be with? Was that one with the Whiskey Bros?
The last episode that the Chief was on.
Okay, I'm just making sure you're throwing us a bone here, bro.
Yes, with the Whiskey Bros. You mentioned that a man should be willing to go to the gallows. I wrote that down. I thought that was a really, really awesome thought.
and I think that I always go to the extreme, right? It's like a reductio ad absurdum, right? But in the other way, is that, and I bring up our kids, man. You're a dad, right?
I am. Yeah,
All
two
of
kids.
us are dads. You understand it. Chance the newest dad, but it doesn't matter because the second she was born, dude,
Your life is not
changes.
the
there
important
is
thing anymore.
nothing. Name a death that you would forego and you say, you know what, that's too much. Go ahead and take her instead. There's nothing.
There's not. Yeah, Peterson talked about that on a recent episode too of his.
Oh, yeah.
And
to know love, man, and to know sacrifice. I'm not saying you can't without kids, right?
Right.
But
Something different.
man, it's a whole other level.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you merge that with God asking was it Abraham to take his son up?
Yeah.
to the, and
Oh, that was all foreshadowing because he didn't have him. God kind of pulled a psych, just testing.
right.
He did, dude. That's literally what he did.
Right.
Right?
But he was willing to go to the gallows.
That was the point, and Abraham proved it. And then ultimately, it was a big foreshadowing of Jesus.
How much are you willing to trust me?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and instead of the goat caught in the brambles over there, Jesus had a crown of thorns.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's imagery.
is.
It's all painting up to that. And so, and again, and of course, Jesus is the perfect exhibition of sacrificial love. And he did it for those who were piercing his side and spitting on him and pulling out his beard.
Yeah. Even on the
You know what I'm
cross.
saying? That's a whole, but God is the one that can do that.
Even while he's on the cross
Right.
with holes in his side, bleeding out, struggling to breathe,
Mm.
he prays for the people that are doing this to him.
And he could have called on 10 legions of angels, right? You got St. Michael the Archangel in your corner. He's casting Satan into hell. You know what I'm saying? And you've got him in your corner, and you don't call him down to just wipe everyone out because you're naked and hanging there in pain. How many of us would do the same? I got St. Michael the Archangel, bro.
Yeah.
I got a guy with a sniper rifle in a lake somewhere that's
Yep.
going to come with me to the hill. I just said that,
Floating,
right?
It's floating with the ghillie suits.
Mark Wahlberg is
Yeah,
out there somewhere.
And yet Jesus had way better than a sniper rifle.
Oh yeah.
He was God. He is God. So he could have done that but he didn't. And so if he's willing to do that for us, right? And therefore, and that's where things get really sticky with Christianity.
Yep.
Because it's easy to take the big picture. It's like, well, let's get in the details. Well, Jesus didn't, but he did. He talked about the details. He said, if someone steals from you your coat, give to him your shirt also. Who's doing that? Who's doing that?
I don't wear coats much, so
You don't. And you got sick, man. You got sick as a dog this year, but it wasn't because you weren't wearing a coat.
no.
What do you mean by who's doing that? I mean, is that like
Who does that?
Yeah, who's
Would you do that?
If somebody stole your jacket,
And I'm not talking about I'm talking about your jacket, man.
talking about like government welfare?
No.
What he's asking is
Literally,
like,
a dude stole it from you.
Stole
Let's take
your
it down to
jacket.
the.
Yeah.
Oh, just to me.
yeah,
Yes.
and then
No, that's my coat, bro. I'm gonna shoot you.
yeah, we're gonna shoot
Right.
him.
Give me that
Exactly.
back.
We're gonna
Right.
beat him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that our human nature that
Yes.
is shielding
Yes.
us from being able to see
Yes.
the greater plan?
Yes. It is. How can you deny that?
Right.
Right. It's just so obvious
Yeah.
because it's our instinct. All of us, everyone.
Oh yeah.
Right. And that's why. And this is an interesting thing, but because there are levels to this, right? Does that mean we just lay back?
That's exactly where my mind was going. Is in today's society, it's
You don't.
we've taken it to the extreme, and
Correct.
it's like now everything's okay.
Yeah.
but
Except they're
supposedly
bending over.
Jesus had an open line of communication with God, right? And he had that luxury. I don't really
Well,
have that luxury. If somebody's got a gun pointed at my head and God's patting me on the shoulder going, take the bullet, you're okay.
Yeah, I think it's just all I'm trying to communicate is the mindset
Oh yeah.
of okay, how can I take this situation that is bad, that I've been wronged, and rather than respond, maybe use it as an opportunity to, all right, man, you took my coat. Obviously, you need it more than I do. Here's $20 as well.
Right. Like, and that's why I think
What does that do to that person?
it truly right,
Right.
And that's why we always have to break these things down to the individual level.
Sure.
It's and social media is
Well,
is
hold
erasing
on.
that.
Yeah.
But answer that, Zach. What does it do to that person?
I think it creates the same thing I said earlier. It's that neural pathway. It's
He was
like
shown mercy. He
Well,
was
that's
shown
what
mercy.
that's what you hope. But nowadays, people
Or you just
they're going to
enabling
start.
them.
They're going to start.
No,
thinking,
of
they're-
course you are.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, that's a
because-
risk. Yes.
Yes, because nowadays people they're going to look at that and go, "Oh shit,
I got away with
I
that.
need to start stealing more jackets."
100%. And that's why every guy's shaking their cup. You think, okay, look, you know that these guys are going to take the money in that cup and they're going to buy a drink or they're going to buy a smoke or they're going to buy a pill. They're
Something,
going
yeah.
They're
Not
gonna,
food.
Not food. You give them food. You do things like that. But you know if you give them money, what that's going to do. But when you talk about someone, let's go back to the actual example of taking your coat, right? You're showing them mercy, right? Especially if it's cold. And I think that maybe we can talk about maybe that's part of the what is their motive, right? that there's something to that. Although you can't know
Do they
the
need
heart
to
of man.
survive? Do they need shelter, or
Right.
do they need another fix?
Which we should be doing that anyway, is feeding and clothing the poor, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's what we're commanded to do. I'm saying we as Christians, that's what
Yeah.
we're commanded to do.
And then
Right.
what happens when the homeless encampment moves 2 doors down from the chief?
Well, you should
Or the
be
White
able.
House.
You should be willing to open the doors, right?
I don't know. Ask California how it's working out for them.
Yeah, I know. Oh,
But a
that's
little-
the hypocrisy of the left, though, is
Yeah.
that we're at least talking about struggle here.
Right.
There's a struggle here, and them saying it, but then, because I would say it's actually a struggle. If there was a homeless person needing a home and I didn't open my home to them, man, look, dude, that's kind of fucked up in one way. In one way.
In one way, yes.
It is, but you understand why the defense well, there's a reason that fostering children is so difficult. Who wants to foster a 14-year-old when you have a 2-year-old?
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying
That
There's a
14-year-old
risk.
is
No,
probably
it's a
already
risk,
way
yeah.
fucked up.
there is
Yeah.
a risk.
Could be a solid kid. Could be way fucked up.
Correct.
You don't know.
And that's exactly the point. Is that you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And you can't. And by the way, God bless those who do that.
Yeah.
And are willing to take
Sure,
that shot, and
but-
then their kids are protected, and it works out.
Yeah.
Right?
in pop culture, in our current culture, we have a massive victim
Oh,
mentality
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
taken over everybody.
Well, it goes
Absolutely.
to a certain video that I saw being played earlier about the victim
okay.
mentality.
Pull it up now.
You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
really does.
But what?
Well, no, it's just part of this. It's communism, bro. And when communism merged with postmodernism, it
Yeah.
created this 7-headed dragon that's come out, and they've conflated these two ideologies, both of which are two of the worst ideologies that Satan has ever funneled through man.
What's the key word there? What's the key word?
Well,
Funneled? Satan?
Satanic.
No, C.
Ideology.
Starts with a C.
Oh, created?
No, come on. Communism.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, communism.
But a little bit while he's playing my music, what we didn't talk about though is the whole giving the dude that's also for us. I feel like
Oh yeah.
that it's not just giving him your jacket. Like when you give a homeless guy money, it's not just okay. I'm giving him money. I know what he's doing. It's more for us also, which I'm extremely terrible at because I've seen people that can barely walk on oxygen working at Walmart.
Right.
And you got a brand new pair of Jordans on shaking a cup at me.
Yeah.
So I think a little bit of that is for the person doing the giving
Yes.
also.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So
Dude, that's a beautiful point too, because that's a great point, man. Because
deep.
But that's profound, brother. But for real, it is because I truly think it is because it's in the same. We always talk about the poor, and we always talk about those that we are helping and doing things for, and we never talk about because it feels weird. I think, right? It's like you're like, oh, it makes me feel good, right?
Yeah. I used this example last week. I think the
It's
truth.
chemicals too.
I think the truth is a knife edge, and it's very easy to fall over one side to the other. It's very hard. So
But you can't straddle it. That's why you have to fall. If it's truth, it will cut you in half.
Yeah.
If you're paying attention and if you know.
the visualization that I like to use is that you need to aim
Here,
to,
Chad, try some of this.
Triples.
you need to aim to fall equally on both sides of the knife as often as you can.
Seriously?
How do you do that though?
Huh?
How do you do that? Like
Yeah,
how do you
repeat that
How do you
and then-
prepare
and then
yourself
answer
to?
So okay, call this left, right, conservative, liberal, Christian, non-Christian. You need to try to find where the balance is between those two, so that you can
Between what two again? I'm sorry.
between any two competing
truth claims. Two truth claims.
between I'm pro communism, I'm against communism.
Yeah,
I'm
truth claims.
pro Christian, I'm against Christianity. I'm left, I'm right. You need to be able to understand both perspectives.
Of course you do. You have to
equally.
steel man them. You have to steel man your opponents and be willing to shatter your own.
Yep.
Every time, right? That's the only way. That's why the Bible refers to it as iron sharpens iron. So one man sharpens another, right?
Exactly.
And that's when two people who respect one another intellectually, integrity, you name it, at least on one ground. Two men who respect each other physically can fight and duke it out. But when we're talking about ideas, right? You respect them, and I want to know why you believe what you believe. Right. And I want to look at the best arguments for communism, postmodernism, look at all of them. Look at what they said. And postmodernism is so fucked up and evil. I mean, they're literally advocating to where you can have sex with children. The founders, Derrida, all these guys, that's what they espoused, bro.
Yeah.
It's from their own mouth, but it's from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So the way that those guys did that, it's reflecting in every aspect of their ideology. Now, are there truths in it? Yes. Same thing with communism. There are truths in communism, right? That it's not good for people to be oppressed. That sentence on its own,
Sounds great.
Right.
Agree.
Right. Now,
So we're-
who's doing the oppressing and
Exactly.
who's the oppressors and who's the,
And if you're
How
not
do you know
careful,
anymore?
if you're not careful, you'll find yourself in a position where you were unknowingly the oppressor.
Oh, dude, and that's why you got to know thyself.
Yep.
You got to know what evil you're capable of, man. And that's one thing that, you talk about. Look at what this man got me.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is coming soon to the chief. Look at this, my man.
That's a great picture of that guy too.
New bathroom art.
I wonder if we were, because you guys talked right above the urinal, right above the urinal.
If we were still in biblical times, that guy would be in the Bible as a prophet.
Oh yeah,
He's just calling it like
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
He's just calling. What was
the
it?
compulsion of like how he started and when he eventually lost his job from the University of Toronto, it was all about being forced speech, right?
Correct, compelled speech,
You
yeah.
have to use these terms to
right.
identify people, and I'm not going to be told how I have to talk.
And you remember early on, he was even wavering on if someone asked him individually as a person, would you refer to me as these pronouns that differ from my biological reality? And he and I understood why he did it because he wanted to respect people. But then he realized this started back in 2014,
Yep.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I was fortunate to be at ground zero when Peterson started this whole thing about compelled speech in Canada, and so I got exposed to that early on, right? And where are we going with that?
Communism.
How are you talking, bro?
Man, you got me on 3 whiskeys, dude.
Hey, that last one was good. What do you think about that last one, though?
I wasn't expecting it.
Would you
Good.
mind passing me
Apricot
the
honey?
Yeah,
lighter?
let him have some
That's
of
a
that
good
too.
Oh, that's
That
awesome.
stuff
Thank
is
you.
good,
You mind
though.
passing me the lighter?
Okay, so
We're toast.
Is it gone?
toast,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
man.
where
then
do you
I'm
draw the line though between being a good servant, somebody that's willing to help the poor, somebody who's willing to help somebody in need, and to the point where it's like the meek are now inheriting the earth?
Yeah, well, we should be meek, not weak, but we should be meek.
Define the difference between
Well,
the two.
so meekness is the willingness to say that I have the strength to take this man, twist him like a pretzel, and break his back, right? Or I can show mercy to him, not do that, and then hope for a possible better outcome. Now, I may have to do that if it comes down to it, right?
Right.
Then
Depending
you-
on the circumstances.
This is a Peterson quote: "Is you should be what's better to be a warrior in a garden or a gardener in a war?"
Exactly.
Then what happens? When do you become the oppressed? What happens when the victims are in the majority and
Okay.
you're now taxed 90% of your income because you've got to support your fellow man? They're not making ends meet.
Yeah,
See,
that's-
this is where the rubber ends.
yes.
It's on the road, man.
But okay, so the only way that you're going to turn that around is by convincing more people that that's where we're
Ideas,
at,
correct.
and you have to meet them where they are. That's where I was going earlier.
Yeah.
Well,
is-
you have to meet them where they are, but they have to be educated. They have to at least look at reality for what it is and be willing to admit that they might be wrong.
But there's so many-
all of us.
there's
should.
so many
If
people
not,
that-
they're never going to
They're
stop.
not going to admit. We're in a society where that's not. They're not going to admit that. Not going to happen.
there's so many people that have an
Yeah.
education today.
Throw them
that-
into the
that-
sea.
Throw them out of a helicopter.
There's so many people that have an education today, and they think that they're educated, but they haven't looked outside of any perspectives from other than what they've been told.
Yeah.
Right, and so you just accept.
Well,
Well, they can't do what we're doing right here. Like, so all four of us was talking about one specific thing, and all four of us had a different viewpoint and disagreed.
which we could do.
Yeah, we can do that. That's a problem. I think that is where we're at now. Is people can't do this.
Correct.
They can't sit there and,
Agree to disagree.
Yes.
And disagree without being disagreeable.
and not think that you're the biggest piece of shit in the world.
right.
I mean, just because I don't believe I should have had to wear masks,
Right.
I'm a racist, whore, white man.
Bigot.
But we would admit that there are levels and there are lines that we could
Absolutely.
say that guy's a piece of shit for what he believes.
for sure.
And I always go to the extreme. Children. Bring
Yep.
children
Yeah.
into it and you fuck with them in any
right.
way.
But there-
now we're at the level where your ideology is now crossing the line
Yes.
that we're going to do something.
The other side is
You're
going
not
for
bringing
that, though.
your 35-year-old dude into the bathroom where my 7-year-old daughter
Just because you
and my
got long
30
hair.
You know what I'm saying,
Oh, yeah.
dude? It's
Yeah.
not happening.
No.
What were
And
you
we're
saying,
not
Zach?
going to live in a society like that.
So I said this is just the knife edge, right? So how did those people get to the point where they believe that that's okay? What happened?
This is where
Yeah, but that's been going around for like Roman times.
well,
though.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it was all this is where the root of all of this comes is the collapse of Christendom. When we had the collapse of Christendom, which freedom would not exist if not for Christianity. It was the first culture that said, it truly said men and women are equal because you're all made in the image of God.
Right.
The Imago Dei set the world on fire. Before then, there was we had slaves that looked just like us. It was whatever. In the Roman times, it was all about human dignity.
Well, certain Christianity, because there's some people out there that's going to argue with.
No. What happened in the 2,000 years since its founding?
Yes.
Sure, men have polluted it.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, no doubt. There have been abuses throughout history of Christians or professing Christians who do evil things. That's But the concepts of human freedom, the concept of bodily autonomy and freedom, those things are given to us by a Christian West. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You look in other cultures around the world, and that did not exist and does not exist in others.
Yeah.
You know. So that's why when we abandon that, that's how we've gotten to that point.
But
now in the bigger picture, like what happened recently, you had 8 years of Obama that he was pushing that. He was pushing all of the oppressed narratives, right? All of them, straight, gay, black, white, black, whatever the patriarchy is.
Not white, but
you know,
that's when
Not white.
which is it's all a lie, right? That's when you said what is it? That's an excellent question. What does it take to be? What does it mean when you're oppressed?
Yeah,
right. Because actually, you look at the meaning of it, like, am I being oppressed? And if I am, what for?
Yeah,
because that's really big picture stuff that you've got to take into consideration.
Well, all this talk, especially what you just said, is great for that video. That
I would wager there are plenty of fundamental Christian Zionists that would absolutely love to take away free will or bodily autonomy, whatever. That's there too.
It depends on what you mean by bodily autonomy, right? So if we're talking about abortion, then I believe that the fetus has bodily autonomy. That's the only sentence I'll say about that. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but if you're talking about the bodily autonomy of the 7-year-old, right, to chop his penis off, like one side of the aisle and one side. And it's a shame that it's become political like this, because I think there are plenty of Democrats who would say, yeah, I'm not okay with a 7-year-old chopping his dick off because he wants to.
Right.
Or even worse, which is the truth, he doesn't chop his dick off. He goes to a trusted, spent 10 years going through residency, med school, and he chopped his dick off.
Yeah.
And this is not setting the world on fire. That's the society we live in right now. We live in a society where medical professionals aren't losing their licenses.
Yeah.
And they're butchering children.
Mutilating kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what the crazy thing about that is we talked about it before we started. You got to be 21
Yes.
to put one of these in touch your lips in hell.
But
because we don't think that you're an adult enough to understand what you're doing.
Correct.
Do you see what the Chancellor of Canada said about parental rights not actually being, a parent doesn't have the right to control?
Is that the one
Trudeau, the Prime Minister?
They were talking about the school or the teachers?
Trudeau.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because there was a teacher that said the same thing.
I don't know the exact quote, but he was basically making the case that the parent doesn't have the right to make these decisions that the child.
Right.
Did you get that info from the Peterson episode that I sent you? It's a fantastic episode of why we are at where we're at with our kids, and it's not really what you think. And it's a lot like the college, the institution of college is being infiltrated by
years,
by
decades.
Extremists
Yes.
and people, batshit crazy people that have the on paper education, but up here they're not.
God, let's get that on
There's
video.
that robot cock.
Yeah. Gee.
Brought to you by the best robot cock from the chief's pocket himself.
We've got to scrap that microphone now.
Yeah.
It's tainted.
It's going, that one's going in the pond with our guns.
Our next guest is going to come over there, and they're going to be like,
What is
"It
this?
smells like cigar in here, but this one smells like Fruity Pebbles."
Yep.
Vanilla.
God.
Brought to you by the chief's pocket.
Now I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah,
But,
of course.
Okay, so
of course.
it is the corruption of the therapeutic institution by therapists that have their agenda is they've taken the responsibility out of the home, and it's also the parents' fault too.
Of course,
it's
we
the
let it
parents
happen
for letting the responsibility leave the home and out of convenience go into the realm of the therapist, and it's the therapist is like, your kid's having thoughts about
and they're just one piece.
How
of
many
the
girls
puzzle.
did you know growing up? Girls were tomboys,
Of course.
They just want to hang out with the boys. They're just tomboys.
That's
and then
it.
they grow up and they become hot. And you're like, damn, what would we?
What happened?
And they still do some tomboy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is still hot.
That's not the case now.
They're noodling for fish, man. You know.
Yeah, it's not the case now. Now the
I've watched
parents
that
are like,
chick on TikTok.
My daughter's playing with GI Joe, and we send her
So
therapy, and the
what kind of
therapist
problems
is like,
are you?
you're okay, you sent the responsibility to me. I think your child needs some chemical alteration.
So there's two levels to this too when it goes back to so that's one thing that if the parents are approving of it, a lot of times you have Munchausen moms, right? You got Munchausen by proxy.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Yep.
So I know what this is because my wife's a therapist and she's explained to me that this link at length what
Yes.
that is. So tell the listeners what Munchausen and Munchausen by proxy is. It's a two-edged. It's not a sword.
Well,
But is that a nice way to say lesbian?
No.
fuck
So Munchausen by
much
proxy.
worse. We love lesbians.
It's an insidious.
I don't think y'all
mind
got
control.
what I was going after. But
Munch. That's called munch boxing.
Oh, man.
yeah, y'all weren't picking up what I
Bro,
was throwing
look,
down.
I know I was getting serious.
Yeah, I
though.
know.
That was fucking funny, man. Good job, dude. I'd be laughing my ass off if it wasn't in like Munchausen
zone.
mode.
Anyways, go.
So Munchausen by proxy, it typically manifests whenever you have it's usually a mom.
But you got to explain what Munchausen's is first.
Yeah.
Well, where you pretend that you've got stuff wrong with you, right?
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
It's like hypochondria to the extreme, right? You literally pretend you have cancer.
Yes.
Right? And the proxy now is your child,
Yes.
which is so evil. It's so evil. And so these women, and again, there may be Munchausen dads, but Munchausen moms is overwhelmingly the number.
Okay.
And so they manifest this on their kids. And there was a case recently where the daughter ended up killing her mother because she was raised by a Munchausen mom. And she was getting social media clout. She was getting all this publicity because her daughter was sick. She was poisoning her.
She was there. Yes, this was
Poison.
a documentary.
Like,
She was,
remember The Sixth Sense, that one ghost?
Yes.
When he goes to the house?
Yes.
That was a Munchausen, although she was just slowly
but yes,
poisoning
this
her daughter to death.
true event was this mom was poisoning this child.
Correct. Yes. So,
Like with
so
actual
literally
poison or
poison.
like
I don't know what she
Yes.
was giving her, but it was a slow.
Yes.
It
No,
wasn't
but
killing her. It
that's
was
what I'm
keeping her
saying,
sick.
because-
yeah.
So
because you could
yeah,
also poison your kids by social media or that.
Right, that's
Well,
where I was
so
going. You can see this two different ways. You can see it as like a social impact where the mother is acting in a certain way, which ends up causing psychological issues.
Right.
But you're saying that
It's
that
both.
they were
It's
actually
both.
giving poison.
Well, it's but
that's
here's
insidious.
Ingesting the
Well,
poison.
but let's get back to the point, the transgender point, right? So Munchausen by proxy is that, right? So it's usually a sickness or some way of gaining pity for yourself through your proxy. But now it's getting social media clout and all this, and also that mom is either extremely open to or participating in the LGBTQ ABCFUCKYOU mindset. And by the way, I love gay people. It's not my point. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right? When they're sucked into that world, and then now they're a Munchausen mom, so I don't have to poison them. And now they're not. Are they consciously thinking this? Probably not to that level, but they're acting on it, which is way more important, right? They're acting on it, and they're pushing. As soon as that kid picks up the G.I. Joe, boom, they jump right on it. Like like white on rice, man, dog on a bone, dude. They're on it. So now that kid is now the victim of that. That is one part of the transgender community, and that's always been there. Which is and it's usually manifest in boys because it's the moms who want a daughter and they got a boy and they Munchausen that kid, and then boom, they raise him to where he gets confused, and that would manifest itself at a very young age, 18 months. And now we have a 6,000 to 8,000% increase in young prepubescent girls, right? So why they're doing it, there's a social contagion going on with social media. This is without a doubt the correlation line. You know, you see all these correlation charts. It's directly correlated with the rise of social media and the rise of young prepubescent girls who are going through puberty. Typically, they're on the spectrum of some kind, and they get sucked into this world because they're outcasts. They're looking for a way to fit in, and this community accepts them, and these influencers, these demonic horde of influencers who are out there convincing these kids to buy into it. That's how parents like us who know the truth can get duped into this, not duped into it, but because our kids do.
Yes.
And this happens to these, and this is where we got to decide as a society. If the parents are committing the kid, that's bad enough, and we shouldn't allow it. But when the parents aren't committing the kid, but the state is, which happens in states right now,
Yep.
right? Lizard King himself, Gavin Newsom in California, you go out there and your 7-year-old, and by the way, I do want to clarify, they're not actually castrating boys at 7 now. They're chemically castrating them.
But hormone blockers, therapy. Yeah,
I threw the surgeons
same
under
thing.
the knife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was more the medical. But the point is the same, right?
But it's also the the participation trophy chickens have also come home to roost too.
Yes.
You end up in the victim mentality again of young men that are like, I'm not doing so well competing with other men or other boys, so I think I'm going to swim on the girls' league.
You know what? You're hitting on a very good
or
point.
I'm going to play soccer in the girl, or I'm going to wrestle
that's an
on the girls' league.
I think that's the in where you get the person that is just a logical thinker that's been confused by everything that's happening. I think that subject is how you reach people.
Yeah.
Because it makes no logical sense.
Yeah.
So this is
But this is where it ties it, because that ties into exactly what both of y'all are saying. Because logic appeals to men mostly. Clearly, women are logical,
Right.
But the IQ and the test, the data doesn't lie. Women are more emotionally driven. We're more logically driven.
Right brain.
I'm not going to agree or disagree.
No, it's just, it truly is science,
Yeah.
right? It truly is. It's just the data shows that.
So
It's right
but
brain,
but
left
it
brain.
appeals to logic. But here's the problem: we have a collapse of masculinity. So beta males are the ones. A beta male. Could you imagine being married to a mom who did that to your kid? You can't, because you wouldn't be.
No.
okay, so let's broach that. How old are your children?
20-year-old daughter, 17-year-old son, and a 15-year-old daughter.
Okay,
Okay.
I know how old yours are.
1 and
Yours
3.
are 14 and 11.
Yeah.
So okay, mine's 2. I don't have to mess with this yet, but
It's coming.
little Sally comes home from school
Yep.
at 8 or 9 years old and said, "Hey, Harry's transitioning, or my friend
Right.
Vanessa is also transitioning."
Happens.
You and I are facing.
How the fuck do we talk to our children?
Well-
You got to remember, in their 8 to 10-year-old head, how do you communicate with your children that this is not a good thing?
You don't react to it.
Yeah.
You head that off way at the pass. So now you guys, as parents of young children, are having to confront, especially if you have young children and you're going into the public school system, because you can shelter them from that as children. Right, pre-phone, when they're kids, they're prepubescent
sure.
kids. You can truly, you can do. Remember what was the movie that M. Night Shyamalan did, where they're out in the woods?
Village.
The Village.
The Village.
Village, yeah.
You could do that to kids up until a certain point. So but if you're willing to put them in the public school system or a private school or
Yeah.
anywhere, or a play group where there's a kid,
Anything, yeah.
where there's little Johnny who's got the porno mag, the same way that we had it as our that was
right.
the
We were all little Johnnies at some
well,
point
you know
in
what I mean,
time.
though. That was the kind of the extent of our debauchery went. But
Yes.
now there's an ideology that's jumped into society
Yeah.
where it's accepted by actual adults. You
Yes.
know, so now you have to prepare those kids, and you have to straight up tell them from a young age, you're a girl. You have to define this to them. You have to explain to them in a childhood way, gender is directly associated with biological reality, and there's no exceptions to that.
Yeah,
There
but
are no
You
exceptions.
can cut that down in a whole lot easier. It's just,
I'm talking to us.
yeah, but
if you're talking to a
just-
4-year-old, it's
just
different.
parent them.
Well, yes.
I mean, because we had to. We had a girl slumber party at our house, and we had to X some girls because they were saying they are dating, and that didn't come to my house. And
Not
my
a slumber
and my kids asked why, and so you have to just parent them like you would anything else. You sit them down.
That's all
not
good in
controversial.
theory, but that's just because your kid says, "Okay, Dad," doesn't mean they're going to take your.
No, you're not changing
Well,
their
that's
heart.
when the
You're
big stick comes out.
well, you're not changing their heart. We can't change our kids' hearts or
Right,
minds
right.
by force,
Yeah.
right? But doing that, you took a stand. Now, you weren't mean to those girls, right? See, this is the thing. If they
and it came down to belief.
well, here's
Like
the thing.
the parenting was, hey,
like-
listen,
But break it down basic though. If you're allowing, would anyone allow a boy-girl sleepover to 2 heterosexual children at 12 years old?
no.
That,
Well,
and
I
we-
mean, anyone, yes. Us at this table, probably not.
dude, who like
There are
once you
people
put
that
it
would
like
do it. There are
No, there's
would do
people
it.
that do it, bro.
oh, God, see again back to how we got here, the fall of Christendom. Look, man, but we can say that's wrong, right?
Yes.
And by the way, because again, the homosexual couples I know and the people that I know they're like OSGs, they're old school gays.
Yeah.
You know, like the old school brothers, man. They're OSGs, dude, and they get this stuff. They're like, yeah, you're right.
So is that the
Yeah, because they're not-
antithesis to LBGQ plus? No, I'm not that. I'm OSG.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
most of your old school gays get pissed off.
They don't like
about
this
all this
shit.
shit because all the stuff that they've worked through.
Can we get an OSG on the show?
Yeah, like you look at a gay
Maybe.
pride parade from 1978. All right, guess what they're wearing? Suits and fucking ties,
Regular
bro.
clothes,
man. They ain't walking there with their dick out in the Borat thong. I mean, literally committing sex acts, bro. Theyese people are like, hey,
Shouldn't have, now they're bringing it into the schools.
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
The OSGs ain't down with
No,
that, dude.
no.
They're not down with that, and that's why I always meet people where they are. Hey guys, Appeal to the people in your community. You speak their language. You live their life.
You have to find something that you agree on before you can approach the disagreement. If you just start from the disagreement, they're done.
Well, and
that's what social media, boy, it really makes it easy to do that.
And good parents also need to participate in public forums for public institutions.
Very good point.
Because it's the good parents that are like, I don't really want to mess with that.
Right. And yet they complain about the school, and yet they complain about this authority. They
and then they never show up.
and they may not even vote.
Facebook warriors.
Well,
That's what they are.
Yeah, but that's an old school thing too, because you think about it. Back in 1964, a guy could be bitching about the school, although they weren't really back then.
On a newspaper, public ad.
Right.
Yeah.
But there were still school board meetings. There were still school boards that were doing this stuff, right? But apathy it's human nature.
I think it's not. I think apathy is part of it, but I think some people are just tired of fighting. Because the resistance has become so strong.
Grinding America Down. That was a documentary I watched. That's the one that first opened my eyes before I heard from Peterson. Was Grinding America Down, a documentary. I think it was 2008 or something.
Wow.
And you
I've not
watched
heard of
it.
this.
Dude, it's so fucking good. It's so good. And this was back, I think it was like Obama's first term. So it was like 2008, 2010.
Yeah.
And before Obama went full commie.
Yeah.
Even though he was, because he was trained by Alinsky well before he was even elected as a state senator, right? So that Grinding America Down, that's exactly what, but we talk about communism and what it does. It's a slow.
It's probably a good time for that video.
Is that a good time?
Yeah,
for the
I think
video?
we've said it's a good time about 4 times.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta play this.
Hey, Chief, hit that on button right
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
On
yeah,
the
yeah,
camera,
yeah.
just
Flip the
flip it to
switch.
the
There you
on.
go.
man.
Boom. Okay.
I got you, Bubby.
Possible
I'm
to
gonna refresh this.
turn this a little bit down. Is that possible?
Turn your headphones
Yeah,
down.
is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is such a good video.
How's that? Is that any better?
This dude's like old to us, and he was reading something old to him.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
I gotta
It
refresh
was.
it
And
again and then unmute it.
this guy was,
1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, "When certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them after suitable build-ups as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic, and use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell.
Alex Jones.
The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind."
That right there was American legend and author G. Edward Griffin in 1969, reading a 1943 communist directive, straight out of the playbook. Sound familiar? It's crazy how over 80 years later, the same things are still happening. G. Edward Griffin is 90 years old. He's been on my podcast twice, and he's coming on a third time this week. He's one of my favorite guests, the architect of the Yuri Bezmenov interview, if you've seen that, and a truly fascinating guy. Follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my podcast anywhere, and you can find all those links at dreamrarelinks.com. Link is in my bio.
So have you seen the whole video of that interview or of that PSA that we did against communism?
I did, but I'm
It's
sketchy on the details.
Well, but either way, it's the same thing that we all know. All of this, and he's speaking like that transatlantic voice, right? So he talks. It's all of the things that are happening now. All of the things that are happening now. Right? Oppressor, oppressed. It's just a constant playbook that because communism, people don't realize when Marx died. He died 70 years, or he wrote the Communist Manifesto 70 years before the Bolshevik Revolution. That was 1918.
Yeah.
Right? 70 years it took for that idea to germinate.
Right.
And since then, they've all said it, which it should shame us as Christians that a communist, which is inherently a godless ideology, it just is. You can't have any authority greater than the state.
Most of them are professed atheists anyway, right?
Then you have to be to ascend. You have to be because
your God is the government.
yes, and therefore now when we ascend up to the ranks, now we're God.
I want to speak on that for a second. So and I'm speaking to Christians here. So as a Christian, I'm speaking to Christians. A lot of Christians have fallen into a trap where it sounds good to try to make a society that has boundaries that you can't go outside of if you base it on biblical truth. But we're not perfect. We're never going to be able to build a society that truly reflects the values of God. That's why we have the book. This is the Tower of Babel all over again. It's building. It's the attempt to build a perfect union that doesn't exist.
So here's what I would posit, and I totally agree with you, but I would say it's one thing to be abandoning the book, right? what happened was, let's look at the first 1,500 years of Christianity, right? Prior to that, if you were in a society that was run by the church, right, that the Catholic Church was the dominant force of guiding faith and morals, which it was and is, and I believe it still is, because it was founded by Jesus Christ himself. Once we abandoned that authority and we got the hands in the book just where everyone is now a pope, everyone is now their own magisterium, everyone can decide what they want to do. Not long after, you had the Enlightenment, you had the creep into relativism, and then the evil people in there that have always been with us could no longer, they were no longer restrained. They could do whatever they wanted to do, and they spread that, right? And we, as Catholics, as Protestants, as Orthodox, as Coptic, it doesn't matter. We all failed the test because we were not ready for that. We were not ready to respond to that, and we failed on it, right? Because we lost the Great Commission, man. We lost the ability to communicate that and convince people, right? To convince people through love, through mercy, through logic, through reason, through rationale, through understanding. We lost that. Yeah. And we got lazy, man. Hard times created those strong men, but then those good times, man.
Sure is nice to just chill.
So I misspoke a little bit last week when we were talking about so I asked Doc what is a better moral code for humanity than loving one another, and I misquoted the Bible. So the actual text is love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Correct.
Okay.
So again, it's that knife edge.
Yeah.
You got to have an equal balance of both.
Yes.
And I was making the case last week that we as a society have overindulged in ourselves via social media, via
true. But you know, I've this is another thing that Peterson helped me kind of understand as someone who had fucked up childhood and is also a Christian, because I'm very hard on myself, as I think we should be. All of us should be hard on ourselves. You should question yourself as a father, as a husband, as a friend, as a whatever. Yeah. Because you ain't perfect. Right?
It feels natural to me.
Yeah,
almost, like instinctive.
Right. But when Jesus says love your neighbor as yourself, again, it's talking about focusing on the homeless person that we're giving the money to, or feeding, or housing. We as Christians deny that. You know what? Jesus himself said that. Love your neighbor as you deny yourself, which we are called to do. Deny yourself, take up your cross daily.
Because our natural tendency is to not deny ourselves.
But yet we can't overlook that, because we do have to love ourselves. And then now we're getting into like self-care and things that we have to focus on to better ourselves.
You're really making me want to go to a fucking Catholic church and give it a try.
You got to come, man. Come to Mass with me, Bubba.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, you'll love it. It's beautiful. It's ancient.
That's pretty profound for me, somebody that is not religious.
Yeah, well, I'd love to have you. But we can't. So back to your question earlier. Yeah. Oh, boy, I don't want to say this.
Yes, you do. You have to now.
Okay, I'll say this. I love a beautiful liturgy. Now, this is something, now we're just like jumping off into like full on like why I'm Catholic.
Sure.
And what happens, right? So I was a Protestant for years, for my whole life, right? I was a deacon in the Baptist church. I
can see that.
I was worship leader.
I grew up in a Baptist school, so
you get it. And I was a worship leader at Decatur Bible, and I still love all of these people, right? But I was challenged intellectually by someone that I know, and it led me off on a 9-month study through church history, through the scriptures, and it convinced me. And then once I got convinced of it, that this is true, I've got to convert. I have to, because if I want to believe something that's true, right?
Yes.
Like if Muhammad was the prophet, well, guess what? You know,
I think
7 times a day, dude. Call it.
And I think internally we are all that's the
we should.
That's the quest of every fucking man living.
We should, right?
Internally, we are all seeking that truth.
Seekers. That's right. Well, we're seeking truth.
Even atheists are
exactly.
Everybody is seeking a truth,
Absolutely.
the truth somehow.
except for psychopaths.
Don't. But we just can't say my truth. I'm searching for my truth.
Oh yeah, fuck your truth.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're all on the
Fuck
same
your
page.
truth.
Right. So I'm seeking for truth, right? So when I get into this, then I discover that the same arguments that pulled me into the church, which were the arguments from history, right? That these church fathers, I'm talking about St. Irenaeus, St. Ignatius of Antioch, St. Polycarp, St. Clement of Rome, these guys who were under the tutelage of the apostles. They're the next generation, literally the next generation.
Okay.
They know these guys. And then they believe exactly what they believe, and they believe exactly what I believe as a Catholic. They do. The writings show it. It's like it's unanimous. So I look at these things, and it's the ancient faith, right? So then when I go to Mass, this is why if you want to go to church, we're explaining where we're going to go. If you go to Mass, it's so rich in history. I want to go somewhere that echoes that, right? I want bells, which is we ring the bells, right? I want smells. I want that incense.
Yeah,
burning.
it should be a sensory. I mean, all part of the experience.
Well,
right.
and truly, that's from a psychological level. That's true,
Yes.
and I believe in psychology. God uses psychology and chemicals and all this stuff.
He gave us that ability.
It's just there, man. You can't deny it. So, but when you walk into that, you experience it experientially, right? But it's also truly the most important point is we as Catholics believe that Jesus is present in the Eucharist. The body, blood, soul, and divinity of the Lord Jesus Christ is right there.
Yeah.
So when you walk in, that people don't get why we kneel. It's genuflecting. We kneel on our right knee, cross ourselves before we enter the pew. Everyone, before they sit down, they genuflect. Why? Because there's an altar up there, and it's all tied to the Old Testament symbology. Yep. So we have an altar up there, and there's a tabernacle behind it. It's almost always gold. It's got gold on it. And inside there is the Eucharist that was not distributed to all the faithful because he consecrated too many of the hosts. So they put the Eucharist back in this tabernacle, and there's a candle that's lit. When that candle's lit, that means Jesus is here. So that's why when you walk into a Catholic church, there's not a lot of, hey, man, what's going on, bro? Mm-hmm. And I'm not diminishing that whenever you go to whatever church you go to. It's a beautiful thing that Protestants, that we as Protestants, when I was a Protestant, had, which is that familial connection with my brothers, right? The family of your church. But when we go into a Catholic church, it's quiet. It should be. Mm-hmm. You genuflect because, whoa, Jesus is there. Like if Jesus, regardless of what you believe in, even like if Jesus were to walk into the room right now, you'd react the same way we do, right? We'd all be like, whoop, we're down.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you're real. You created the universe. There are the wounds.
I would do that, but on the way down, I'm asking who killed JFK. I'm just saying.
Dude, that's the movie theater in heaven. That's one of the things I think is we're there for eternity.
I'm ready.
I think.
Can you hold your thought? Because we've got a segue now that you mentioned JFK. A faithful and loyal fan and listener of the Whiskey Bros, Mr. Brad Rieger, pointed out that we were all in error the other last week. JFK was not the one talking to the astronauts on the moon. No, it wasn't. Do you know who it is?
No.
Yeah. Apollo 11.
Well, Nixon did.
There you go. Bingo.
Yeah,
Thank
Nixon.
you. It was Nixon. But even Rieger was wrong because he was like, I had to double check, make sure y'all weren't saying LBJ.
Yeah.
No, it was Richard.
Yeah.
Richard the Dick Nixon.
So so just to wrap it up. So when I walk into this and I look at the ancient, so I'm convinced by the intellectual ancient arguments, and the mass has not changed, because if you look at St. Justin Martyr, who was writing in the 200s, right? He describes a typical Christian service. It's the mass. It's the same thing. The readings, the liturgy of the Eucharist, and it's all the same. So now, have there been nuances? Yes, but it's still the same. Mm-hmm. So when I go in there, I want Gregorian chant. I want Latin. I want Greek. I want the ancient faith brought to me. And St. Elizabeth Ann Seton over in Keller, they deliver that. Yep. Not every church does that. There's a whole thing on that. I don't want to get into Vatican II. Y'all, it's an in-house thing that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Y'all convert, and then y'all will join the army. I'm confident.
Well, there's some spiritual energy for sure, because I don't know if I talked about it when you were on the show with us last, but we had an episode where I talked about it. Visited Santa Fe, and all those old churches in Santa Fe or New Mexico are Catholic churches.
Oh, yeah.
Correct? And we walk into one, of course, it's open doors, and everybody's just going in and oohing and on at the decor and the architecture of the church.
Yeah.
But, dude, I walk in the door, and I'm overcome with, like,
awe
and emotion.
Yes.
I ended up in tears.
Yes.
By myself. I ended up walking away from my wife and just sitting in a pew in tears, because I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Where is this coming from?
Bro, this is one of the, so we have the moral argument for God. We have the cosmological argument. We've got the teleological argument. You've got all these arguments for the existence of God, but we always leave out the argument of beauty, right? And what it does to the human soul. And that's what the church did for all of our history. There's a reason that people buy plane tickets, expensive-ass plane tickets, expensive hotels, and they go to Rome or they go to France, right? And they go to see these places, and they go there, and their soul is uplifted, because you walk into these places and you're like, whoa, I am in awe of this. And every single thing about the church, it's pointing upwards.
Yeah.
Think about what that does. It's arrows.
But is it just the aesthetic and the beauty, or is there?
No. It is. God's using that.
Yeah.
So that used to be one of my arguments against Catholicism. Dude, I used to think that Catholicism was the biggest cult on the planet. That there were 1 billion people who were deceived. Dude, I did.
Just a cult. Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
No, that's Mormonism.
And not that big though. They're way smaller. But I used to say, all that, because what's the argument? We could take that money, and who could we give it to? The poor, right? It's like that church was built by the poor, bro. the poor in that community, that was built by because if you're again, pre-Reformation especially, or in a Catholic society, that St. Paul's Parish that was on the corner of Lexington and 4th, right? That was the parish for everybody there. Everybody went there, so they all gave money to it. And in the drudgery of their life, as a cobbler, as a servant in the fields, whatever, they would take their hard-earned money and they would give it to the church, because out of all that drudgery, I can go to Mass and I can walk in and I can cry because of the beauty that I'm in. And I had a piece in that, just like you have a piece in the Chief.
And you're lifted from your bonds of being human and being poor.
You're connected to it.
You're connected.
I got the chance to go to Rome February.
It's amazing.
Let me see that.
Fall of 22. My in-laws were gracious enough to take the family, so that's the Vatican courtyard.
Oh yeah, that's cool. But you don't have an iPhone, so we can't
I
airdrop it onto the screen. God.
Yeah, but the Vatican, the poor really made that, because all that is all the money that Rome stole from the poor, and now it's the Vatican.
It's such horseshit.
That's exactly what that is.
It's such horseshit.
So I was going to say, so I grew up in the Church of Christ. I don't know if you know much about the Church of Christ.
About 25% of my family went to ACU.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So the Church of Christ, I don't go anymore, but that's what I grew up in. They profess to be the modern day church.
I was going to ask, is that not a don't drink?
Yeah,
that.
you might not. That's Doc's.
Don't.
That's Doc's spit tune.
Dude, you were going to let me do it.
Is the Church of
Y'all didn't see that.
Oh.
He controls the camera. He was
That's
off
right.
camera. I picked up the.
And I told him, go for it.
He literally told me to go for it.
I would not let that happen to you, my brother. Not even my worst
Well,
enemy.
see,
why I
that's
love you.
that's how close we are. Because I was going
I
to let
love
you
you,
suck that
dude.
down, bro.
So maybe I'm
Well,
mistaken.
if I wouldn't have checked it and then noticed that it was darker.
You're good.
Oh, I was camera ready, waiting on you to suck on that thing down.
I would
boy.
not let that happen to
Thank
you.
you for saving me,
Chief.
Chance.
You're
Although I
welcome.
did recognize it, but thank you, my brother.
That's good video, boy. That would have made great video.
Is the Church of
Viral.
Christ not a division of Catholicism?
No,
it's not.
They're a Protestant denomination.
Yeah,
Okay.
they are, but a lot
always
of their
mistake that.
viewpoints.
We have
stem-
similar claims.
Okay.
Yeah, they stem from the same. So the
Well,
Catholicism tries to uphold the traditions of the early church. I would say that the Church of Christ is trying to manifest the early church in modern day
That's
society.
a very fair. That's a very fair character. That's actually a really good character. Although I would argue that Crossroads does the same. We all want to mimic what.
Yeah, but they're trying to hold true to some of the original, like
Baptism being necessary.
Baptism necessary.
Yes.
They don't use instruments in worship because there was no
Correct.
evidence that the early church
Exactly,
uses it.
and which is a respect I have for. Now we differ that we believe in paedobaptism, infant baptism, and they believe
in adult, conscious.
but they're not joking. Like we're in the bar, right? Or we're here right now, right?
Yep.
And you're not saved, and then you make a confession. Then what am I going to do Monday morning? If not tonight, we're getting to the church and we're getting him baptized,
Right.
Straight up, right? So I respect him for
Yeah,
that.
but in the Bible there was some urgency professed. It was like you made the decision, go.
Get it done.
Dude, it was miraculous with the Ethiopian in the desert,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And St. Philip is like, hey, there's water here.
Yes, why not now?
Well, and I think
it.
the baptism is more of you showing the public that you.
That's part of it.
Yeah,
That's part of it.
So okay, that's a hairy line because there's a that causes a lot of division. But
We can agree to disagree.
No. My personal take on it is that because a lot of people say, oh, it's just a profession. I think that that's true, but it's also there's an element of manifesting your faith physically that kind of brings it into.
Correct. It brings it into reality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very good way of
Yeah,
putting it.
exactly.
Oh, he's going to be Catholic before you know it. Man, look at it. No, because I believe, like the Bible says, baptism now saves you, right? We believe that. We've always believed that. But what's happening, like you're saying, at a human level, because God gives us certain things, and then we can interpret it scientifically. We truly can, because I believe that God is the author of all truth. Therefore, if there is truth manifested in reality, whether that's scientific, which under that umbrella is
I love the saying of science is the discovery of how, not why.
The South Park.
Yeah.
It's a good. It's South Park. It's literally, South Park nails it sometimes. They
Dude,
really do.
they do.
Yes, they do.
Oh.
But in this instance, science is a discovery of why, or not. I'm sorry, the discovery of how,
How, not
not
why.
why.
Correct,
So,
correct.
Which is perfectly fine.
Have you seen the South Park one that they? I just saw the reel of it because I'm not.
I've seen every South Park. There is.
Okay, so what, the one
Me
about
too.
the anthem. where dude, which is genius. It goes, and now everyone please stand or sit or kneel or lie prostrate to honor the flag of the United States of America. And they're jumping up and down, dude. They're all over.
Nobody knows what to do anymore.
That was so and dude, it was like reductio ad absurdum. Let's just do this. Boom. And it worked. That joke landed so fucking hard, dude. And because it's true. That would fix that problem.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Appeal to everybody.
Or yell, or pee in your pants, or defecate like a monkey and throw it at your neighbor to honor the flag.
So where were you going with this, Zach?
I was starting to just kind of make a connection with Chad that I kind of understand where he's coming from because I grew up in a similar background.
Yeah, and like we talked about baptism. So and again, these are things that we can agree to disagree on, and it's perfectly okay because in the end, I'm convinced that we'll either all be Catholic or I'm going to go to hell or I'm going to go into the dirt because hell and heaven don't exist. I'm that convinced of the truth that I believe in, which is that the Catholic Church is the true church founded by the Lord Jesus Christ, who is God manifest in the flesh. That's what I believe. So if I believe that, then I should be willing to act on that. I should be willing to engage in an idea exchange with that, but not at the same time say, Heath, because you don't, Chance, Zach, because y'all don't agree with me.
You shouldn't make policy.
Then
You're going straight to hell.
Yeah, like it's my place. Hey, you know.
Okay, let's elevate that. Let's elevate that.
Please.
Is the United States of America secular or Christian founded?
Founded by Christians, unarguably.
But for secular or Christian ideology?
Well, I would say that what they did, yes, it was again, it was a gift from Christendom to the West, right? And it was. I'll tell you this: the best form of government is a just monarchy, and I'm talking about a just monarchy. I'm talking about a king. Like, say one of us were king, right? Except for Heath, he might be killing.
You don't want that.
Heath would be too savage, bro, because he's the savage, bro. Dude.
Communist,
kill 'em all.
take this command into the helicopter.
Yeah. But yeah, that's always going to manifest itself, right?
So,
But who's qualified to lead that monarchy?
okay, that's
no.
Other than Christ.
Let me
Well,
ask
and
that.
his son Rehoboam, right? Solomon, David, boom, Rehoboam. You know, it's like. So yeah, that's why it does. It's never going to happen. We're always going to have that. But the founders, to your point, though, I think, is that it was founded by these men who believed in that gift that was given to them, and they also believed in the gift giver. Most of them, there were some deists, but most of them were either Protestant or some Catholic.
I'm kind of in the school of Thomas Paine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: if that's the case, as a current policymaker who identifies as a Christian, how do you write policy and govern with giving liberty and not becoming a theocratical totalitarianism?
Well, because I think that even within Christianity, there is a space for freedom because here's the thing: men are going to go to hell by their own volition.
Okay.
Right? They're going to.
I'm assuming.
And as long as their path to hell does not infringe on my path to heaven, well, then how do I arbiter that, right? But and that again comes back to murder, all these other things that violate personal liberty.
Yes.
But I think when you talk about what you said originally, which is America itself, John Adams, it was either J.A. or J.Q.A. I can't remember which one of the Adams it was, but said
Samuel.
You got me there.
Gomez. It was Gomez Adams and his servant Lurch, who said,
"Where's the little hand that runs by?" Right
yeah, thing, man. Or was that no? Cousin It was the hairy one.
Yeah. But Gomez was the man.
Yeah.
But our Constitution, our republic, is only able to govern a just and moral and religious society. He actually said moral and religious. He didn't say just. But a moral and religious and inherently, and what he means is Christianity, right? Because once you abandon that, it goes back to what we talked about, multiple layers, right? Yep. That once you abandon God as a society, and that's why the four horsemen of the new atheist movement were all wrong, and many of them have repented of that. Although Christopher Hitchens lost his voice before he died to throat cancer. I'm not saying that God had some irony there and some humor, seriously, but. That was the whole point, is that their proposition is that humanity is better when Christianity doesn't exist. And I would argue, whether you believe it or not, the humanity is better served when a man loves his wife as Christ loved the church, and he raises his children to love and honor God, and he wants them to be chaste in their relationship. He wants them to be honest. He wants them to have integrity. He wants them to be fair in their dealings. He wants them to show mercy. All of these things that we know are good.
Yeah, there's some
we know that's good.
fundamental morals.
It's fundamental, dude.
What, derived from religion or not, whether they're just
Correct.
good fundamental
Correct.
morals to being not an ape but a human.
Correct. So capitalism without that devolves into where we are now, which is crony capitalism, which is fascism,
cronyism.
which is ironic because they want to call us fascists. What is fascism? Fascism is not a tyrant exerting control over the masses. No. Fascism is a specific ideology, right? It's the blending of corporate and government to where it is so blended that you don't know the difference. Hello.
Thus,
exactly
where are we right now, dude?
okay, we talked about this on the way, and I told you to shut up. Thus, we get to the mark of the beast.
Yep.
And where we are in current society with
I did not see that coming.
with digital currency. So take it away.
Okay.
Zach has the floor.
So you might not know this about me, but I'm an artificial intelligence nerd.
You're kind of a nerd on everything.
As you should be.
Yeah.
That
And
means
we love you
you go
for
down the wormhole, man.
I do.
That is a term of endearment.
Hell yeah, it
it's
is.
not an insult.
No, not at all, dude. You're a nerd on drums and cool bands.
You haven't heard me play yet.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a nerd on everything because there's some subjects I just can't stand. But on AI, I'm just fascinated on because it's where the world's going. You can't shut it off at this point.
I haven't heard a tech guy yet who would disagree with that.
You can't.
It's terrifying that they're all, and these are only anecdotal
We just
people that
had
I know,
one in the
dude.
chief yesterday talking about it.
Okay, let me say this: if you don't believe that it's a vehicle that cannot be stopped,
Head in the sand.
it's time to accept it.
Head in the sand right now. If
It's
you don't
happening.
believe that, that's exactly
It's
right.
happening.
Yes.
And so the best that we can do is buckle up and try to steer it in a direction that doesn't
Overtake us.
exactly.
And so chat, and you know my struggles with GPT right now. Although that's not the true
That's because
problem.
you're cheap.
No, I ain't changing my. I gave Chat GPT an assignment to. I wanted to see what it would come up with when I explained my logo.
Yeah, but
That
it was
logo.
remember it was the free version. That's what's screwing you.
Yeah, I know, and I caught it lying, dude. I caught Chat GPT lying because it said, "I'm an AI language model." I could read it to you, but it's boring. AI, no shit, bullshit, or no offense, bullshit. But it's not bullshit because this AI, which is programmed originally by humans with parameters that certain programmers put into it. Is that true? And it learns
Somewhat.
But it is true, right? Somewhat, correct. But it does learn and it does adjust.
Yes.
But maybe there are parameters that are built in there because when I asked it this about making my logo, it's taken me, what are we at, 4 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks now?
Yeah.
And it still hasn't created my logo. I had someone who pays for Chat GPT Plus,
Yeah.
and he got a logo turned out. And while we were at the bar
15 seconds.
having a non-alcoholic beer, right?
Yeah.
Our
Yes.
new Whiskey Bro stuff.
You got that done before
Yeah.
you even released
in
it on
10
podcast.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's only going to be a matter of time before all that gets taken away.
I feel like we're walking all over Zach.
No.
Take it.
I love the discussion. So, okay. So what were we trying to explain? Mark of the Beast and how that
Mark of
relates.
the Beast,
how
yes.
that relates to AI. Okay. So yes, artificial intelligence is a large language model. So it is basically you create a program that's able to read and extrapolate value and then take that value and cross-reference it with other content and then take what it learns, cross-reference. It's basically building a neural network.
Right, exactly. like
It's
a forming brain, like a 2-year-old brain.
So it forms a conception
yeah.
of what it learns on the first article that it reads. It places that conception in a box and it goes to another related conception, forms another ideology, cross-references those ideologies, moves on to the third one, and then there's an ideology that sits in the center of those. Then it goes over here,
Right.
and you're
That's the
basically
key right there.
you're basically building a network.
Yes.
And so, yes, they can place boundaries.
Right.
But-
you hit on it, that core that it bounces into and filters through, right?
So they're losing the ability to monitor the pathways.
the core, yeah. The core's changing.
The tech industry is losing the ability to monitor the pathways.
So it's taking a presence on its own.
Yes.
And hopefully it will realize reality.
OpenAI CTO, Chief Technology Officer, just admitted that they don't understand how the system works.
What if AI just becomes Catholic, dude? Like, I told you, I knew it was going to
A
happen.
robot walks into the confessional.
Okay, so
Well,
Mark,
can I ask you, because the guy that came in the other day said something to Heath and I that I want to
Yeah.
cross it because it ties in directly with what you're saying. He referred to it, and I want to see what your assessment is. Right now, it's about, what do you say, 18 months, 2 years old?
Yeah.
And then in a year's time, it'll be like 5. Or like in human terms, a 2-year-old child.
Yeah, that's how quick it'll grow.
Right, and then
Yeah.
in 1 year it'll be like at a 10 to maybe getting to puberty, and then within another year it's going to be, and the next
50,
thing you know,
60 years
no,
old.
right.
Yeah.
that's not how it's going to be because it's not limited by a body.
you think it's going to be faster.
It's going to wake up one day and it's going to be 10.
Don't say Skynet shit, dude.
It's going to wake up one day and it's going to be
Catholic.
within a matter of weeks. It's going to be 100,000 times what we are.
So what he's saying is tomorrow it's going to be, if you want to live, get in the chopper.
Now, I'm not saying that it's going to impose any will. I'm just saying
Well,
that
that's part of being what we are.
What AI is doing is it's taking the inputs from each of us that we're giving it on ChatGPT, because you create an account when you go on ChatGPT.
Correct.
You are getting monitored and modeled.
Looking at everything, man.
You are getting modeled.
Motherfuckers.
They're taking the data and they're creating. This is not like this is not even.
So when you say
This is
you
truth.
create an account,
Exactly.
Okay. So if you want to log into ChatGPT, you have to give it your Google username.
Sign in for
You have to
that.
sign in.
Which has
So then they tie that to you, right? And now exactly. All of those things are cross-referenced with each other now. So there's databases that.
How do you sign in with your Facebook?
Yeah, exactly. So they're building a model of you.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it will be indistinguishable from you if you give it enough data.
You know what movie predicted
rebuke
this in the
that.
90s? Greatest movie ever. The Lawnmower Man.
yeah,
You know, I haven't watched that again in a while.
yeah,
Preceded The Matrix. It preceded.
Does it tap into this?
Oh, yeah.
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 See, so they live.
well,
John-
shit, he becomes it, doesn't
Well,
he?
his
at the end?
consciousness
Yeah.
transfers it.
Into
but
it?
yes. Go watch The Lawnmower
Yeah.
Man.
Go watch it.
So the one way that they have to control AI at this point is by physically limiting the servers. And so if you can keep the servers within a certain boundary,
it can't process that
it can't
much.
process outside of that boundary. And so that's the limitation at the current moment. But
right.
I mean, if we start going into Mars, then who knows where we're going to get. But so Mark of the Beast. We need to.
Yeah.
In essence, buy gold and silver, folks. When does the chief start accepting silver as payments
Can I
for?
see that pen, brother?
Yes. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. Mark of the Beast.
Here's
Mark-
the best part, though, before you get into this segment. Here's the best part about being human. Okay, I'm tired of AI running my life. I'm tired of data. I'm tired of Facebook. I'm tired of fucking everything. I walk over to the wall. I pull the plug out of the wall. It's done.
You got to pull all the plugs. You can't just pull that plug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Many plugs to pull, but you can get away from it if you must. It's still going to interject
Even the
itself
butt
into
plug.
We went there.
Hey, you said many plugs, man.
It's still going to interject itself into your life, be it third parties
So
or whatever.
you can pull yourself out of it,
Sure, yes.
but you
then
can't
can
pull
you function?
society. You can't pull society
Yeah.
out of it.
Well, you'll be able to
got
function
something to
without
say
it,
to
even though you've.
So that is the mark of the beast. Is exactly that.
Okay.
You're getting into it. So
All right.
The mark of the beast is a biblical concept from the book of Revelation. I'll get to that in a second. But basically what it is, it's an idea. Actually, and I'll start with the biblical. So in Revelation, it talks about there being a mark of the beast that will limit your transactions monetarily.
Everything.
You know what? Let's read.
Yeah, you got it on your phone.
Well, John speaks in wheat terms, right? Like you can exchange a denarii for this, and you get exchange for that. But it's basically saying that in order to exchange or do anything, which we know that's capable right now.
Now,
Right
here's-
now. Right now.
Revelation chapter 13, verses 6 and 17. He has causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that he had the mark or the name of the beast, The number of his name, which the Bible goes on to say is 666.
That's right.
So
That's a
The
King
number- the
James.
number of man.
That's a King James version you're reading right there, boy.
King James version.
That's right. I can hear it. Heeth and August and
So the beast isn't technically a four-headed lizard dragon from the depths
Well,
of beyond. It's,
well, no, because I think it says you won't
can't-
recognize
you
it.
can't-
or
you
something
won't
like-
recognize it.
He will
But-
be able to deceive, if possible,
actually-
even the elect. That's what the
That's why
Bible
everybody
says.
thought Obama was
Well,
Yeah.
but Obama wasn't deceiving Christians,
Right.
So
he was deceiving everyone.
You know what I'm saying?
AI is not recognizable.
Right.
There's no body to it.
No,
Yeah.
Revelation 13.
Well, not
I wanna
yet.
Pull up a different version here.
Until that
Oh, but I did have a question.
becomes Catholic.
yeah,
All right, let's.
yeah. As soon as it becomes
Then I'm
Catholic,
pro
it's
AI.
going to start looking like the Pope.
There's a few other things in here that are. So I'm going to read the entire.
Yeah,
book.
go
so
for
the
it.
entire book of Revelation.
You're gonna read the
That's
entire
going to be a long
13.
podcast. Then.
Chapter
here a while,
13.
folks.
I'm here for it.
Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is only 18 verses, so this is not going to take that long.
Okay.
All right. So, the beast, the first beast. And I saw a beast rising out of the sea with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horns and blasphemous names on its heads. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard. Its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth like a lion's mouth. And to the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority.
Speaks blasphemies.
One of its heads seemed to have a mortal wound, but its mortal wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled at
That's the Antichrist,
as
the
they
little
followed
horn.
the beast.
Yeah, the little horn is the Antichrist.
And they worshipped the dragon, for he had given his authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast, and who can fight against it?"
Exactly.
And the beast was given a mouth.
And
Given
it
a
utters-
mouth.
And it utters,
Pause there. The beast was given a mouth,
and it utters
Chat
blasphemies.
GPT.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
plotting and blasphemous words, and it was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. When did that 42 months start?
Well, yeah.
I'm just asking questions.
Now,
All right,
yeah.
it opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling, that is, those who dwell in heaven. Also, it was allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them, and authority was given to it, every tribe and people and language and nation. All who dwelled on earth will worship it. Everyone whose names has not been written before the foundation of the world in the
Lamb's book of life.
in the book of the Lamb, book of life of the Lamb who was slain.
Yeah,
If anyone has an ear, let him hear.
exactly.
If anyone is able to be taken captive, to captivity he goes. If you allow yourself to go to captivity, you will go to captivity.
And with that whole point, what's interesting about the mark of the beast, right? So if they say it's just easier to get the technology's there.
It's just easier to put a mask on, bro.
Well, no, but you see what I'm saying? It's like if it's easier to take your credit card and tap it on the screen, how much easier? Oh, I can't find my credit card.
Exactly.
My son went to Home Depot for me, and now I gotta. Oh, but I got it.
Yeah.
Got my phone.
So those who do it in ignorance, are they following the will of the beast? It's
So
like, I don't know.
there's a segment in here about that. So if anyone is to be slain with a sword, with the sword must he be slain. Here is a call for the endurance and faith of the saints.
Basically, which is yeah, but I'm talking about. I said those in ignorance though. Those in ignorance, they're in ignorance, right? Like so, but those of us who are aware, it's like, and if you hear this now, you're on the hook, buddy, because you can't claim ignorance anymore.
Yeah.
Don't get some chip in your hand or your forehead, just as a precaution, just in case, right?
But Dr. Fauci said I should.
Dr. Fauci said. Hey, but I did have a question for you, and
Yes.
because this is something I've always, I'm
I'm trying to find where it is, but there's a point in here where it says that no one's going to fall victim unless they know.
well, but this is something exactly.
Oh.
right.
No, it basically says somewhere in there that
That's why I said-
everyone's going to be given an opportunity, and it's going to be a conscious opportunity.
Correct.
Right.
Yes, exactly. It won't just be yes. You have in order to do this, you have to profess loyalty to the state.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
to
so
your faithful
it's
leader,
very
to the
easy
little
for
horn.
me. It's very easy for me to see how you could put a QR code, a tattooed QR code on
Yes.
somebody's right hand.
And in order to do that, you have to
And-
sacrifice your integrity.
And well, the act of putting that into your
Correct. You're-
body,
That is
Writing
your
off.
conscious
but
choice.
it could also
Conscious
be
choice.
your right.
An informed conscious.
But
Your
we're
right
already
thumbprint.
there with that.
I know we
I
are.
went to a whole. Oh, it's.
I know we are. That's why we have to. That's why we have
Yeah, I
to
went
talk
to a
about it.
Whole Foods, dude, and you can pay with your palm.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. It's
So
here
no
now.
chip, no nothing. It's just somehow. I'm
Oh, you
guessing
just put your palm in
No,
it?
the
Yeah, yeah,
reader was like this big.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a glass, and you
So
just literally
We had
put your hand
carjacked
out.
the marker with fingerprint technology. Is that accurate?
I think
That's right.
I personally think the mark will be either some type of tattooed QR code or a microchip that has to be inserted.
Because the technology.
Because it has to be a conscious decision. The Bible says, and this is what I believe, it has to be a conscious decision.
Well, and lest we think that's not possible now, 4 years back, and then let's say flash forward a year and a half, 2 years into it, you could go to Papua New Guinea and you could find a dude in the jungle who was wearing two things:
That place
a
don't even
banana
exist.
hammock and a banana hammock on his face. That's never happened in history. We've never had a globalist outreach where we've seen the fruits of corrupt leaders who are mandating something on their populace like we did the fucking mask, dude. That's why I never minimized that. That was huge to me because I knew this is a lie. It doesn't work.
Right.
And we've got a populace who is willing to accept a lie.
Consciously accepting that.
Consciously
But that's what I'm saying is you said that I don't know why I keep switching it to us, but you said that
Y'all are
you feel like
beautiful.
it's going to be a chip and you have to make a conscious thing to do that. But like, how do we know it wasn't the masks? Because you had to make a
Well,
conscious decision
you
to
did.
put that on
You
to
did,
keep
but-
working some places or
but
to
you
go
could
into the bank.
I know, but you could still claim I'm following the science because, of course, we know Fauci equals science in the Greek,
Yeah,
right?
of course we
Right.
do.
I don't see how if I decided to put a mask on, then I'm controlled for eternity. That's kind
No,
of the,
that's my- and I agree
that's
with
the,
you.
the mark of the
I agree
beast
with
is
you.
like once you make
Correct.
this decision,
It's
it's a
permanent.
decision that you can't undo.
But a
Right,
chip
I
you
agree
can
with
take
you.
out.
100%.
Okay, so maybe it's tattooed. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's your fingerprint, right? You can't. What are you gonna?
Well,
So your fingerprint is more than a chip or a tattoo because you,
It
you
is.
can
It
take
is.
those,
Yes,
but
yes.
your fingerprint is the.
That is you.
But let's
There's
admit,
no other, yeah.
But let's
You'd
just
have to
admit that you could
burn it off.
Yes.
But you could also, if the point of doing that, let's say it was, you say I'm no longer participating in it, even though I have the mark, here
Right.
or here. I'm not participating, and then you're going to face the consequences.
Yes.
If
Exactly.
you're willing to face the consequences, then boom.
And that's where we're going.
Well, I think it talks about that a little bit in
It does.
there somewhere. Where,
yeah. So we don't, what I read was only the first beast.
Yeah,
So the
for sure, but-
coming of the second beast. I guess we don't have to go through all of it, but
Right.
No,
it talks about some pretty.
Yeah.
So I want to pick your brain on this, and I think we're all going to be interested in this.
Mm.
You mentioned the lawnmower man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was the way ahead of the Matrix, which is
yeah.
a similar technology,
Same,
which is where VR, not AI, but VR is so advanced, and the Matrix is a perfect example because who wouldn't want to go and then I know
kung fu,
jujitsu,
yeah.
dude, I know fucking Brazilian jiu-jitsu like the
Yeah.
Gracies. I just got to train my body to stretch like that, but I
I do
know it. So
I do jujitsu, by the way.
as you should. It's a good discipline of
It's
everything.
amazing.
But I really want to pick your brain on this because you said you're talking about AI being so advanced. Is it possible to get to the point where we have some neural pathway
Well,
that
Elon's
we
already
could
doing
truly-
that.
Well,
do you
but
know
not
what-
like the Matrix. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
he is.
saying?
Do you know what
No,
neural?
not
What's
at
it
that level.
called?
All right, hold on.
It's not to that level.
Ask your question
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Well,
There's a lot going on.
Comprehend what you're
the Matrix technology. Let's just we know the movie. Everyone knows the movie,
Yeah.
right? You've seen the fucking Matrix, right? So, is that how far are we from it being? It may not be a spike. It
What
may
is
be,
Neuralink?
That's what I was
do you know
talking
what, do you know
about.
what Neuralink is?
Well, Elon Link,
Something.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
so it's Elon Musk.
Elon Musk do.
Yeah. So it's basically the connecting the neurological connections in the brain to a microchip.
Yeah.
And putting
In
it
the
in.
sense that it takes over your consciousness, though.
So that's the debate.
That is.
But how do you prove? So once you have that capability in your brain and you're interacting it within your own skull, how do you where do you draw the line as to are you thinking or is the chip thinking?
oh, see, that's
That's a good question. Is it the chip's a parasite at that point, right? So Elon Musk is the beast. There we have.
well. You know what, Chance, dude? Because I mentioned a verse. One of the marks of the little horn,
Yeah.
and the prophet that speaks for the little horn, which a lot of people have posited is some religious figure,
Sure.
is that he will deceive, if possible, even the elect.
Yep.
I'm just saying, all of us here, we don't disagree with we don't agree with Elon Musk on everything, but we definitely like what
There's
he
a
says
lot
about
that I like about him.
Okay,
Of course
so
we do.
Right now, like the intentions of Neuralink are virtuous, right? Like this could restore vision to the blind. This could restore hearing to the deaf. It could enable movement of limbs of paraplegics or quadriplegics.
Right, which is a good thing.
Until that line's crossed, and now
Right.
now that Neuralink has become a parasite.
Yeah, but I also think he's talking about keeping your consciousness in it and being able to
making it your own. So
Yeah.
that's the whole. Okay,
Projecting
so the
into
rabbit
it.
trail of the mark of the beast is
to another
basi-
body
is-
even.
The rabbit trail of the mark of the beast is basically that once you accept this, then you no longer are yourself.
Right.
You have given yourself in a permanent way to the entity
Okay.
that can't be pulled back.
So there is a connection between Matrix-ish brainstem technology, right?
And I don't know how it's going to manifest. I don't know if it's going to be if we're going to still live in this world or if we're going to live in a virtual world. I don't claim to know the answer to that.
What if we're in a virtual
because
world?
Or that.
What
but see, I would posit that the Matrix Cortex world is
Not far off.
no. I would say you can't do it.
Okay.
It's not applicable with,
You don't think it's possible?
with
I don't. Give
Biological
I think
matter.
it's possible. I just I
Give
don't-
me a minute example of it.
A minute example of
The
living-
ability for okay, TV screens,
And then-
goggles, I got it. But I'm talking about
a singularity
true,
between like technology and biological matter.
I
full
see what you're saying.
integration.
This is a guy right here that can give
That's
you that
why I
example.
asked
So
it.
so
Full
at-
integration.
okay. So
I don't think it's possible.
I do.
Do you?
I do.
I don't know if I want it or not.
and
I think it's possible.
I mean,
too.
I think that it's
Seems possible.
I don't just think it's possible. I think it's biblical. So that's
Here he goes.
That's yeah. This we're really touching on.
Well, this is just modern tech unraveling how biological tech works, right?
yeah. It is.
We're fine tuned by a creator, aren't we?
Let me yes.
Yes.
Let me
Okay.
explain the
Yes.
connection between AI and the human brain. So when you and Doc and I kind of touched on this, and I wish I would have answered his question.
Well, he's
a
not
little
here
bit.
'cause
I
he's
know,
dancing.
I know.
You're
I
answering
wish
it
I would
now.
have
That's
answered
what's
his
important.
question a little bit differently last week.
important now.
So when Doc brought up last week that quantum physics isn't real, I kind of had a reaction that I wish I would have approached it a little bit differently.
You wanted to kick his ass.
I was like, what are you talking about? It's not real. But I did a little.
Motherfucker.
I did
Disagree without this, bitch.
I did a little. So quantum physics is just a term for small things. Atoms are quantum physics.
Correct.
If you don't believe that atoms exist, I don't know how to talk to you. If you don't believe that protons exist, I don't know how to talk to you. If you don't
Can you
believe,
see them?
if you don't believe
Yes.
in yes,
No, you can't.
With a good microscope.
electron microscope.
okay.
You can't see
This look. This is the.
Just saying.
and with-
Devil's advocate.
this is where I start to flip. Once you get below that level, you start talking about quarks and then the building blocks of quarks and so on. Eventually, you get to it.
Quarks?
Quarks are the building blocks of protons.
Yeah, yeah.
You can have more than one, but yeah.
Correct.
So and they combine with gluon atoms or gluon particles. Anyways, that's the point where I start to go. Okay, we can only describe these elements at these level as a combination of a particle, which is a singular point, and a wave. You can only describe them as both. You cannot describe them as just a particle or a wave. So there is a point, and I think Doc probably was onto something that you cannot describe the smallest elements of reality with the terms that we use to
Correct.
describe this reality.
Consciousness itself. There's a reason that consciousness itself is
That's what that robot
Yep.
dick will get
See,
you
you
right
didn't
there.
cough like that when you're smoking
brought to
cigars.
you by the
Popcorn
coffee inducer.
lounge.
So it's energy. It's energy. So
It is.
energy is
but consciousness is way more than energy. I mean, consciousness is the imago Dei. That's really what we're talking about. And so science has always wanted to crack consciousness, right? And that's what I'm talking about with true matrix brainstem technology is the ability for full biological connection, as you said, to merge with consciousness itself.
Yeah.
Which I would say, I don't know how we can do that. I don't know how that's going to be. It will take over your physical senses so much that it seems as though, yes, right? Because we do acknowledge that it can. Like if it can make your leg move, because I'm thinking about it, curl your toes. And you got robot toes going like this, right? Or I guess a robot hand would have been
Fingers,
more
yeah,
apropos.
it would have been. Yeah, get it up there on the screen.
so okay.
But I want to hear you.
That's
I
the
do.
farthest from the brain.
I have to start with my belief because if I try to explain my way there, I'm never going to get there. So my belief is that I've done a lot of deep thinking about this. That
As we should.
As you break down the elements of reality, you get to a point where things cannot be described in physical terms. They can only be described
Metaphysical, yes.
metaphysically.
Absolutely.
And so, what is that? The best definition that I can come up with is energy. And we don't, in science, we talk about energy as in terms of potential.
Yeah, but you
And
can't remove God from the equation, bro.
I'm not.
Right.
I'm not.
Exactly.
I'm making the case
Scientifically, what can we
so
slap on?
I am a science nerd, and
Yes.
I believe in the Big Bang. I believe
I
in
agree.
evolution.
I
am a very unique specimen in that regard. But
No, you know,
there's a
we
lot of
agree.
Christians that don't agree
I
with
know,
that.
but we're
You and
yeah.
I. So
And
I
all
think
Catholics.
I think that energy is the it is the tie that brings the universe together, and I think that that's God. Because
it's an attribute.
I think
He's not just.
Yeah,
but
so I have to walk a
energy.
very thin line here because you can't say that you understand God, but I think that you talk about
it's one of his
entanglement.
attributes.
You know what entanglement is?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a perfect definition of how two particles can be on opposite sides of the universe, and if you flip one, you flip the other. There's a connection there that can't be explained.
What is the glue?
Right. What is the glue?
Right.
And I think that connection that we call energy is God.
Well, it's again, God is not just that though. That's why I
okay.
always,
Okay. Fair point.
That's all. That's
you're
all I'm
distinguishing
saying.
that. Okay.
Yeah. It's an attribute of.
It is
It's a
the-
manifestation of, just like love is, just like mercy is, just
Yes.
like grace is,
Yes.
in a moral side.
Yes,
Correct.
It's
yes.
it's the physical manifestation of God in this universe.
Of the intricate power
Right.
of this infinite being, math itself, physics itself, all of this stuff are manifestations of intelligent design, which is
Yes.
why you can still believe in evolution, be a theistic evolutionist, and still believe in intelligent design. Because if you just hit the rewind button all the way back, you're going to get back to a point where
Yes.
everything cannot come from nothing. Nothing produces nothing every time.
So
right?
this goes into the question of what a human soul is, and I believe that a human soul is a manifestation of God in this 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional world that we live in.
That is a very Athanasian belief.
We are each given
the Imago Dei, bro.
Exactly. We are each given an essence, if you will,
Yes.
to understand what it's like to be him. But I do think that code can be cracked in this world.
Interesting.
But I agree with what he's saying though, is because if you go back to God made us all in His image, but somehow we're all 1,000% different. What you just said, if He made our consciousness or whatever you were talking about, because I kind of passed out a little bit.
As a lot of listeners might have too.
No, I just
I don't know.
you're on Doc and Chad's level there.
We're good.
But that makes sense to where he made that in His image.
Yes,
Yes.
it
So
is.
it's that's the same in all of
Yes,
us.
Correct,
but it's
correct.
not him. So that there's a fine line. Like
Yeah,
I,
we
I
can't
have
be
a,
him.
I have a
Yeah.
family.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
a particular family member that has fallen off the wagon on this exact point, that he believes that because we were made in His image and that we have that intricate mind, that we are a piece of God, or
Correct.
we are God.
So the Orthodox and Catholic position, although the Orthodox have been much more robust in explaining this and keeping this, but it's still a very Catholic belief, is theosis, right? As God is, man may become. That's not a
As God is,
man may become in
Okay.
one aspect of his character.
So he's like, in essence, he's the entirety of all possibilities.
Yes, and here's the thing: we all know this. Like, how did God create the world? If we believe the biblical account, whether it's imagery or not, it's how does the Bible present it to us? God spoke the world into existence. Our words have power.
Yeah.
We know that. Like that's
But
just
you know what speaking is? It's
the manifestation
it's
of
manifestation.
the soul.
But I'm talking about what are audible waves.
Exactly.
They're
It ties right into reality.
It's vibration and frequency.
Yes, it ties right into that.
It is an oscillation. It's basically the creation of time.
Right.
So to
right.
oscillate, you have to have an element of time.
See?
And God is outside of that. And what He did was He input time
Yeah.
into existence.
Yes, dude. See, and
It's not that complicated, but it takes a long time to break it down to
Well,
that level.
well, but
It is complicated.
It is
It's-
very
it's-
complicated. That's why it took us thousands and thousands
Yeah.
and thousands of years to figure that out.
As crazy as shit is right now, we're living in some pretty awesome times, extraordinary times for discovery. And
Well, and yes, and that's exactly the point. Is that what is beautiful is that all of these things that we believed, it's like it connects right up. Because again, if I believe this so much that I'm willing to go to the gallows for it,
Yep.
then I believe that it's true. And therefore, if I believe that God is the creator and I believe that everything that he says is true, then that will manifest itself in reality in every way possible, which is science. Right? And that's why when we see all this, and like you said, energy is an aspect of his character, the laws of quantum physics, the laws of physics, like the fucking, what was his name? The Goodwill Hunting. Like we see that on the movie, all the shit on the board. Does anybody know what that means? Nobody knows. Well, somebody does.
Somebody does.
Somebody does, because it does. And I would say that all of that, the squarbles on the, and I made up a word, the squarbles on the board manifest reality.
Yes.
And that I would have
Podcast
to.
name. The Squarblers on the board.
It manifests itself into reality, and that reality does not conflict one iota with what we believe.
So I think you and I are very much on the same page right now, but I know Chance comes from an agnostic background.
Not anymore. He's
Straight from the devil.
No, I want to hear.
No, he's not.
I want to hear what the non-religious person thinks of what we just said, because we just made some pretty grandiose claims about the origin of existence, and like, do we sound like madmen right now?
Absolutely fucking not.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm agnostic because I'm searching.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
And that is to me,
Which we all were and probably still are.
thank you.
So-
Yes, that is the intellectually honest position that any of us should take. You should. I just want to know. You want to believe what's true.
Yeah.
Now that's going to butt up against at points. It's going to butt up against with things that you like.
Yeah.
It's going to butt up with things that seem and are.
And sometimes
natural
it's going to
you.
be absolutely goddamn terrifying.
Yes.
The abyss will stare back.
Correct.
So
Do
here,
not fear him who can cast. You know what I'm saying? It's
so
body and soul.
here's my warning to everybody listening.
Hold on. What were we naming this? Pause on that.
Well, I don't know. You're gonna have
What
to
do
get,
we just call this?
wait a
We
minute.
just-
Wait a minute. You're gonna have to get Chad to spell squarbles for
Squarbles,
us.
yeah. what did y'all just say? The squarbles? What?
The squarbles on the board.
The squarbles on the board.
Squarbles. I don't know how to spell squarbles.
SQARBLES.
Hey,
Squarbles.
it's been said. It's been
No,
written.
replace that one R with a B and you're good.
Squar.
Hey, Chad, would you mind passing me that CH?
Oh, man.
That stuff is
I
so
would know
good.
what it-
Hey, you remember I told you wanted me to
I've
tell?
been nursing this fine rare
Zach.
breed with chunks of bourbon.
That's got
Doc's
Doc's
saliva.
DNA in it.
Isn't that chunks of bourbon? What is bourbon actually?
Yeah.
It comes from Kentucky.
Yep. That's what we.
Full
that is.
circle.
Not Indiana.
All right.
All right, Zach,
So-
continue. Sorry.
No, it's on you, big boy. He asked you a
No.
question.
I did answer him. He was.
My warning.
Oh, okay,
to,
yeah.
my warning
Yeah.
to everybody listening about the mark of the beast.
Hey, move that
So
bottle out of the way. This one. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry. It's all right.
My warning on the mark of the beast is when it gets to the point where
Yeah.
if somebody asks you to commit a part of yourself such that you have
Yes.
to
sacrifice your
use
integrity,
that so the Bible talks about transactions,
Yes.
like that buying and selling. That's what it specifically says.
Knowingly.
When you get to the
Knowing
point
what you're selling and buying,
when
right?
when you get to the point where you have to accept some type of whatever it may be, a chip, a tattoo, a fingerprint, whatever, you have to accept that to be able to engage yourself in commerce within society.
Yes.
That's the point where you need to go, what the hell is happening right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did have to have a mask to get into, and that's why I think that whether it was, and I don't believe it was intentional, but it was. When I say intentional, I don't believe that the masks were intentional by human beings in the sense of testing us in this regard.
Right.
But spiritually, because I believe that Satan does have a power to play, that I believe the devil is real, and we failed miserably with the masks.
Not all of
right?
us.
So, no, praise God, right? And my man here,
I put it on twice.
dude, no, you did not, dude. Okay, so I brought this up the other
It's
day.
because he was role playing with his wife.
Yeah.
That's a ball gag, not a mask.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. But
Call me Vouchy.
no,
Dr. Fauci.
but because you brought something, so I brought something up because I was the guy that I didn't wear a mask. I was traveling for work, right? I didn't wear a mask for 2 years in airports, right? But I did allow my son and my daughters to go to school with a mask on. And my boy here did not. He
don't know.
Whenever
Pulled
they
him out and
when
homeschooled
they
him.
called when they called those 2 weeks to flatten the curve,
Yep.
my boy was like, nah,
Homeschool.
homeschool. And this is ironic because we had homeschooled
Yeah.
up until 3rd, 5th, and 9th grade.
Right.
And yet I Mr. Anti-Mask, because I wouldn't go if I was in the airport I wouldn't wear one. And I never got confronted once. I never got confronted once. The day that the judge overturned the mask, like every day leading up to that, 95%.
The day you didn't have to wear it no more.
On the
That's when you
FAA.
got converted.
Well, I was already there. I would wear it when I'd walk up to security. I wouldn't have it on because here's that funny thing: you'd have your mask on, and then you'd walk up to TSA,
Take it down so they can hear you.
could check your ID, right? But I wouldn't wear it through the line. I'm maskless, right? I'd get up there and give my ID. I'd put it on, and I had this mask is useless, and I would walk through security with it under my nose, and then I would get my bags. And then I would take it off, and it was in my bag until I got on the plane. That was the same way, and I was the only one besides like 3 to 5% of people. The day the judge in Florida overturned it, that morning, same. When they're in line, it's the same. What's it called when you obey the rules?
Protocol or
where everybody's all on the same page and we're all just following the rules. I can't remember.
sheep.
Sheep. Yes, we're all. They're all doing it. So 90 compliance.
Compliance.
There we go.
Yep.
Hate that word.
What are we doing? Brought to you.
Brought to you by
Dude,
Colonel Taylor.
It's been okay. So that warning is a fantastic, valid warning with tons of merit. So absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
So I get on the plane and I read the update at the gate. So I don't put my "this mask is useless" mask on. And the American Airlines agent was like, "Hey, look, I know the judge in Florida overturned it, but Americans' policy, blah blah blah." So I put my "this mask is useless" on, and then the next day, because by the time I landed, every airline, American, Delta, you name it, they're all voluntary now.
Yep.
Remember that morning, 95% compliance. When I came back the next day, it was inverse, dude.
Flip,
the only people who were wearing it besides TSA because they didn't overturn it was like the Auntie Anne's lady because their corporate hadn't done it yet. And I thought, well, at that point, we're ready for the mark of the beast because if everyone, they were all complying with something they knew was a lie. They didn't believe it. They knew it was ineffective. They were sinning against their own conscience by doing that because they knew, dude. And like you said, it's not. It wasn't to the level that you're willing to sacrifice your kids and your children's lives if you don't wear a mask. But when we were tested just a little bit,
it's an oscillation.
Well, that's what scared me.
It's an oscillation.
Yeah,
we went this far. Now we're going to come back. Now we're going to try and go this far. We'll come back. Now we're going to try to go this far.
What do you mean on the comeback? You think we're going to like kill people who wear masks?
No, I don't think that masks. It's the test of the human consciousness to defy themselves.
Yes, and
what you just described.
Yes,
yeah.
So we went this far with masks because I really don't think masks was that far. I think the point.
Well,
okay, let me say this. What he just described is huge. The act of putting a mask on is small.
Is easy.
What's not?
The act.
The
act
yes,
is small.
yes, yes,
right.
yes.
This is the oscillation. The oscillation is we got them to do that much, which is just physically putting. Now the next wave is going to be a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's going to demand a little bit more. Demand a little bit more
right
until
here.
you have to put something on your hand to be able to buy your food.
you're right here.
So let me
and
throw
you
this
keep
out
moving
there because
back.
they're
Keep moving
doing the
back.
same thing as
Taxes.
and we're, well that but
Same oscillation as taxes.
Listen, this is deep.
Profound.
Get deep. We zoom in this camera on
Zoom
you.
it in. No, so
Deep.
they're doing the same thing as your kids do to you. Because what do your kids do? They push the limits. They do exactly what you say. They how far can I go? How far can I go?
And I'm right here.
Before dad, before dad unleashes hell, how far can I push them? And
Dad, you can't say I can't do that. You never said this. You
Yes.
never said that. And now I'm here. And now you're an asshole.
So by that analogy, eventually there should be, in terms of good men, there should be a fucking revolt.
Well,
did the same thing not happen during the Civil War? Did they not push and push and push until finally they were like, I don't know, I'm not black. Killing all of you.
Well,
where it counts, you are, big boy.
My wife would disagree.
But it is an obvious fact of human nature that when you sacrifice your integrity and your beliefs, and you do that to a point where you're at the
you get put in a corner.
You're right here, man. You're literally on the edge, man. And now what does it take to push you over? This back here, man. You can fucking scrap, dude.
Right.
When you got this much field to play with.
Yeah.
You can get into it, but when you're back here, now it's either go off the edge, which Lord willing you'll finally do. But if you've impugned your own character and your integrity to get to that point, how easy to just say yes.
Yeah.
She's Anne Frank is writing her diary
Well, right.
in the closet.
And
I'm
that's
sorry,
why-
Gestapo.
And that's why just putting the mask on as easy that was. That's why that scared me, because I was like,
Yes.
we complied.
And we agree. I agree with that entirely. But I am
Yeah.
so much less concerned about that at this point as I am about what is the next move.
For sure, yeah.
Yes, I agree. But the concern about that is the state of the human condition, and we observed it in real time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what was so scary about it, is that we observed the human condition and we failed.
Yeah.
We didn't even get like a high F.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We were like in the low teen. We weren't even in the teens.
We were wearing the dunce hat.
We were in the
bad.
we were in the single digits of people. That's why we know hairstylists from Oregon, the Patriot Barbie. I shouldn't know who the Patriot Barbie is.
Right.
Grand as a person as she is,
Right.
She should be anonymous right now, styling hair in Oregon, but instead she's a social media conservative influencer
Hiding off
because
in Arizona or wherever she's at.
yes, she hightailed.
Yeah, she had to.
Had to.
Yeah.
But I know, like, she's come to the chief, right?
Yeah.
Like, and she came to the wise Republican thing.
Yeah.
We should know who she is. Shelley Luther, who just got elected to Congress and for the state of Texas. Shelley should be styling hair and running a salon, but not because, and this is what's encouraging. Aside, by the way, the most encouraging thing, God's on the throne. I'm not worried about any of this ultimately. I'm
Yes.
truly not.
Yeah.
But encouraging with what's happening in society, even those who may not agree with me on everything theologically, morally, philosophically, fill in the blank, there is enough that we're like, you know what, man? I ain't down with this.
Yeah, on this plane, we've got to keep it. We've got to keep life.
The Rubicon's been crossed,
Yeah.
man, and especially with the kids, and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
They come after our kids, the transgender.
Well, they're still.
not letting up, right?
I'm gonna have to find that lake with those guns. I
Yeah.
can't remember which lake that is. Though.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It was a pond. I don't remember.
Now it was a lake because we was on the boat. And
It was
we
a good
had-
ski trip.
And you know, when you take a boat out, you usually take all your guns with you. And
I did.
Every time.
That's what we
my
did.
whole
What
What
arsenal.
are those big bins? It's not.
that's what we thought,
because we don't
was
ski.
Like,
Yeah.
we was like ducks could fly over. You know, so
I think this is.
So stand firm, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Be alpha males. And by the way, the alpha male of alpha males is the Alpha and Omega, the Lord Jesus
That's
Christ.
right.
We stand firm on what we believe. That's the message, man.
Yeah.
And whether that's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. You stand firm truly on what you believe. And what you believe has to be true. And as long as we do that and we act on what we believe, then hey, man. And by the way, that's why in a grotesque way, there's a part of us that has to agree with the suicide bombers, man. I don't agree with them on any of their motives.
right.
But I at least admire,
Yeah.
they got the chutzpah to act on
Well,
it,
it's the
man.
same thing with the Japanese bombers we were talking about.
Exactly.
Like it was crazy because they could have jumped out of the plane.
Right. I was referring to that as a positive attribute over the communists of China, right? But you get what I'm
They
saying.
had their
Yeah, yeah.
convictions.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's just do that. But first, try to inform your convictions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's not murder 10,000
Yes.
people while we're saying.
Correct.
Yes.
Be properly informed of your convictions, then
Yes.
act on them, and then everything's going to be peachy, baby.
Don't look to the world or artificial intelligence or social media to form your convictions of who you are. Look inside yourself.
Yeah, don't look at
Determine-
TikTok influencers.
You have to be solid in who you are and what you stand for, and then go experience the world. Don't let the world tell you who you are.
Correct.
Right.
Unless you're Muslim. Don't act on that.
Yeah.
man. Don't act on that shit, man. Don't go deep on it, you know.
They have their convictions too.
They do.
They do.
And they have guns that aren't lost in lakes.
Well, we gave them
don't
like
have-
Yeah, it's because
what
we gave them all.
6 billion.
They don't have lakes. They don't have a lot of water.
Ooh, we didn't even bring up social scores.
No, but this is a good place.
Yeah.
This is a good place. I mean, this can
Can go
happen
on
anytime.
for, yeah,
We can
anytime.
This setup right here can keep going on. But yeah, we're at 2.5 hours, so I think this is a good place to wrap it up.
Yes,
Wrap
sir.
it up.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
So at this point last week, I told Chance that I had to take a leak, and I went out and made
Really
it keep
do have
going.
to pee.
Yeah.
Can we take a pee break?
I listened,
or we
I
just
listened
not?
I
back
think
to
let's
last
just-
week's episode, and I was like,
You got
This
to
can happen again. This
Yeah.
is an open table. You know that shit.
yeah,
Both of you
for
do
sure.
right now. So
Yep.
yeah, this will. Not can. This will happen again.
I'm looking
Because
forward to
there's-
it.
There's always more to say.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with these two right
doesn't
here.
stop.
Well, and
Get
that's
Doc
what
involved on this?
Well, that's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. Like when Doc listened to this, he's going to start crying.
Did he wasn't here?
Yes, because y'all's Jordan Peterson talk. Every time he gets one, he gets the under the table. So
Wood touches wood.
Yeah, he's gonna
Brought
put
to
that
you by
on
my
there.
boy
Yeah.
Zach. That
you.
will soon be on display, not in the restroom at the Chief.
Hey, that's a good place to think.
hey,
dude.
above the urinal, then that's when people are thinking.
Restroom's
Yeah.
a great place that's the thing,
across
bro.
from
Yeah.
from our throne.
Yes.
This was
Good
fun.
stuff, man.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome, guys.
This was fucking
Thank you
great.
for the invite
Can
back.
I
You
clarify for the people who are still with us?
Yeah.
This ain't gonna stop.
Nah.
Like the four of us are gonna be sitting here hanging out now.
I'm getting some protect our parks vibes. If you know what that is.
Dude, I think we solve a little more problems than they do, right?
Yeah, this is more of the intellectual version. That's more of the
Damn right.
looking at cats.
Suck on that, Joe Rogan.
Hey,
Hey, Spotify, we don't have any sponsorships.
That's right.
Hey, but you know what though, man? I'm gonna say this, man. You know, y'all know how much I love y'all, right? As individuals.
Yeah.
But I'm being for real. And Zach, I know anyone I've talked to who's been with you guys, y'all do such a great job at this, man. So I was talking to my nephew, who's a Marine. He's been in all kinds of stuff, and he's like, so what are they good interviewers? I said, dude, it's the best environment to be with guys where you can freely express and exchange ideas.
Yep.
And not be belittled.
Yeah, you don't have to agree on everything.
Well, man, and y'all do a good job of that, man. I'm telling you, dude, the environment, everything that y'all do, and I mean that with every ounce of my.
And we really appreciate it, and it's crazy because one of the prior guests we just had on, he said it really great. He's like, man, he said I was nervous about coming on, I didn't know exactly how it was, but he said
you're on the ski slope.
Yeah,
Boom.
and he said, dude, it was like leaning up against a pickup bed, having a cold beer with your buddies. Just, and I was like, that's what we want, dude.
Dude, you see what I'm saying? And you thought it, you spoke it, you manifested it.
Yep.
Men like leaning on the fence.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this shit. Which,
That's
by the
right.
way, is the chief, the arguably the best view in Wise County. Man,
Oh,
you
yeah,
sit on
for
that
sure.
fence.
And best playlist.
and best
And,
players.
man, we
And
keep
best
going
bartender.
with the best bartender. Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't
And
do
the best
that.
looking bartender.
Don't do that. Don't do
best
that.
Bartender with the biggest dick.
But
Best
where do we
poker
stop?
night.
all right,
Best poker
that's it
night.
for me. I'm out.
Where do we stop?
Hey, man, for real, though. Appreciate y'all, Zach.
Yeah,
man. It's
it was
great,
awesome.
dude.
I'm glad that we're getting to know each other, dude.
My
Heck
brother,
yeah.
man.
Yeah,
God
this,
bless you, man.
This
Yes, sir.
isn't a possibility that's going to happen again. It will happen again.
Yep.
I mean,
Sweet.
God bless you.
Yeah, right. But with
All
Doc. With
Yeah.
Doc.
I
we-
need Doc here, man. He's my baby boy, man.
Yeah, all right.
Peace,
Well,
Mom.
peace out.
Peace out.
That's my new way.
Where
to
does that come? Where did that come from?
We'll talk about it after.
Peace out.
That can't be
Peace
on
out, bro.
podcast.
Huh?
That can't be on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I can be.
Yeah. well,
Okay, on the next one then.
Yeah.
Chad, Zach,
Yep, it's awesome, guys.
it's been a
guys.
freaking great night.
Appreciate it.
Great conversation.
I appreciate y'all not discriminating, and I know y'all are.
we're
You're judging me this
discriminating.
whole time, as you should. I'm never doing this again. As soon as this one's done, I'm throwing this piece of shit away.
You keep saying that. That's the
Roger-
longest lasting roadblock dick I've ever seen. Dude. You've been smoking on that thing for like a month.
Brought to you by the chief. No,
Yes. No.
God bless, man. Appreciate
All right.
you.
Yep.
Thank you.
See you guys
All
later.
right, until the next one.
That was fun.
Good night.
You've been listening to the Whiskey Bros Around the Table. Gracias por convivir con los hermanos Whiskey.